Well, the CIS rankings were released today, and the football program remains atop the CIS poll with 21st place votes. Laval sits second, Calgary third. All three teams finishing the regular season with 8-0 conference records. The Stangs host McMaster this weekend in the OUA semifinals at TD Stadium.
Let's go, baby! Time to go to work! Time to go to work! Step up! Who's gonna step up?
Going to be up to Western's defense to stop them and allow Western's offense to get on the field. If Toronto's offense gets going, they can put up points as it did last week with 70 points. So early on, the challenge should be defensive.
There's today's weather forecast. It's a clear day, 23 degrees. There should be a good deal of wind, though, potentially, which could have an impact on the kicking game. This is the 145th time that the two teams will meet. Western has won 78 of those games, and like I said, haven't lost to the Blues in 21 years. It's Toronto, it's Western, it's homecoming at Western. And we'll now go to public address announcer Chris Lyons for the pregame ceremony.
Basketball, volleyball, softball, and track and field while she was at Western, helping to lead the volleyball team to 2 intercollegiate titles and a basketball team to 3. After graduation, she would continue to be involved in sport, serving as a nationally accredited official in both volleyball and basketball, and more recently volunteering as a coach, swim club president, and swim meet official. Please join me in congratulating Mary Etta Barclay and recognizing her lifelong passion for sport and activity. Angela Campbell served as the captain of the women's basketball team from 1995 to 1998, winning several awards during her career, including the OUA Divisional MVP and Academic All-Canadian honors. After graduation, she taught physical education in London for 16 years while coaching both club and high school basketball. She is currently the department head of health and physical education at Mother Teresa Catholic Secondary School here in London. Please join me in welcoming Angela Campbell. Widely recognized for her contributions to the sport management field, Karen Danilchuk has contributed just as much to athletics at Western. A former student at the university, Karen has also served as a professor, coach, and coordinator of women's intercollegiate athletics at Western, helping oversee the addition of women's rugby, water polo, and wrestling, as well as the reinstatement of women's ice hockey. Please join me in congratulating Karen Danilchuk. Sarah Ostler enjoyed a successful career as a student athlete at Western, captaining the field and indoor hockey teams during her undergrad and even assuming coaching duties for both teams one year. After graduation, Sarah applied the same dedication and passion she has for sport to her career as a doctor and continues to stay active through ice hockey, soccer, and triathlons. Please join me in congratulating Sarah Ostler. William Lacey was a standout rower for the Mustangs and a member of the Canadian national team during his time at Western. Upon completing his degree in economics, he worked for 11 years at First Energy Capital, where he earned the Wall Street Journal's Best on the Street and was a Brendan Woods-ranked analyst. He is currently Vice President of Corporate Strategy at Endurance Energy. Please join me in welcoming William Lacey. Doug McGregor was a member of Western's wrestling team for 5 years, winning a national and provincial championship. On the international stage, he won a silver medal with Canada at the Pan-Pacific Games and competed at the World University Games. Currently, Doug is chairman and CEO of RBC Capital Markets, a board member of the University Health Network, and is heavily involved with the United Way. Please join me in congratulating Doug McGregor. A football player and wrestler during his time at Western, Bill Salter went on to teach physical education in London high schools for 30 years while lending his coaching skills to a number of Mustang teams. He was instrumental in introducing wrestling to Ontario high schools and was involved in officiating at Western's indoor track for 35 years. Bill is a former member of the Ontario Senior Games Association and served as their president from 1997 to 2002. Please join me in welcoming Bill Salter. A kinesiology student, Tom Perks, played for Western's soccer team during his undergrad and won the Dr. Claude Brown Memorial Trophy in 1997 for his significant contributions to athletics. In 1998, Tom served as an assistant coach for the soccer team, helping the Mustangs win their very first national championship in the sport. Today, he is an assistant professor at the University of Lethbridge and continues to play soccer competitively. Today we're honoring three of the greatest teams in Mustangs history. It's been 40 years since the 74 Mustangs won the university's second ever Vanier Cup. It's also been 25 years since the 1989 Mustangs, under the guidance of legendary Western coach Larry Haler, also guided the 94 Mustangs to victory at the Skydome for the record 6th Vanier Cup in Western history. Please join us in honoring our Mustang teams. Here are today's starting lineups. First, for the visiting Toronto Varsity Blues. On defense for the Varsity Blues, it's defensive end number 67, Aaron Jervis. Defensive tackle number 98, Kyle Draga. Defensive tackle number 99, Zach Lukings. Defensive end number 95, Everton Williams. Corner number 4, Spencer Stewart. Corner number 18, Tarek Dufour. Defensive back number 21, Jaden McBride. Defensive back number 36, Dennis Adu. Linebacker number 45, Dylan Gordon. Linebacker number 2, Whitley Mokubi.
We're just about ready to start
52,
here
Darnell Gerard.
at
and safety number 11,
TD Stadium.
JJ Lamb.
We will be back with the national anthem and the starting kickoff on Mustangs TV.
It's payback time. Is that bother you? Does that bother you? Does that bother you? Does that bother you? Does that bother you?
It's not so fun when you're the target of rude behavior. College athletics has many traditions, but bad sportsmanship isn't one of them. Respect. It's the name of the game.
Lone Star believes that smoked ain't a flavor you add. It's a flavor you earn. That's why Lone Star trucks mesquite all the way from the great state of Texas to fire their grill. Brings a taste of chicken and steak you just can't fake with a shaker. So if that much attention goes into firing their grill, imagine what goes into the pico, the tortilla, and the rest of the fajita. Lone Star, the taste is in the details.
Back at TD Stadium, just getting ready for the opening kickoff. Coin flip is yet to happen, but either way, I think Western will like their chances, whether they start on offense or defense today. Toronto entering this game 1-2 on the season. They come off an absolute rout, 70-0 over York, while Western came off a dominating victory in Kingston over the Queens Gales, Nigel.
Yeah, both teams performed well last week, and both performed in conditions that weren't great for football.
No.
The game down at Queens was played in pouring rain, so I know both the Mustangs and the Varsity Blues are really looking forward to a dry track. I think early on what's really going to be a big factor is this wind, and so regardless of whether it's offense or defense, whoever kicks off is hoping to pin the other team deep in against the wind.
We see that giant Western flag in the middle of the field. It's flapping
Ladies and gentlemen,
pretty
this time,
good.
please rise, remove your hats.
Now
and
we
join
will
Assembly Chambers
go
in
to the
singing of
national
our
anthem.
National anthem. Thank you, Emily. Has been with the Lone Star for 9 years and GM of the London location since it opened in 2003. Brad played center for the Mustangs, quarterbacking such greats as Chris Hessel and Michael Faulds.
Thank you very much, John. Opening kickoff here. If you were Western, would you take the ball or would you go with the wind here if you were to win the toss?
I'm not sure what the coaches have talked about and decided. If I'm an offensive-minded person, I want the ball in my hands, but then other coaches may factor in the decision and saying, let's take the win now and pin them deep and get on top of them right away.
Play the field position battle early in the game. For Western, number 3 in the country, did not lose an OUA game all last season. Their only defeat came at the hands of Calgary out west in pretty miserable conditions. They're hoping to get back there this year to the CIS level. They have a team that is definitely capable of going far this year. Most of their starters on offense returned from last year. And we're just about ready to go here at TD Stadium.
Well, you're right, Christian, in talking about the depth of the Western Mustangs. Their offense returned most of its starters, and they're a very solid group. And defensively, they also have a great nucleus of people, and they've introduced some young players. So defensively, they've been playing very well, and we're looking forward to seeing that defense grow with the young linebackers in there.
Western ranks #1 in Ontario in points per game. 52 points per game scored in their 2 games so far, and they've only given up 6 points per game. That's also first in the province. They rank first in offensive yards per game, yards allowed per game, total sacks with 10. And you got to remember, they've played 1 fewer game than most of the other teams in Ontario. Take a look at the CIS standings, and Western ranks right up there with Calgary and Laval. Those 3 were in the top 4 last year, in the final 4 rather. Mount Allison rounded out the final 4 last year. Guelph making an appearance in the top 10, and so was McMaster rounding out the OUA inclusion.
Well, the neat things about ranking is that's all they are rankings, and when you take a look at those 10 teams, you know, you still have to play them whether you're ranked #1 or #10, and you better be prepared or you'll be going home early.
Toronto is going to kick off. Back to receive it for Western, Shaquille Johnson and Adam Sinclair. Shaquille Johnson making his 2nd appearance for the Western Mustangs. He is a dangerous man with the ball in his hands. Kicking the ball for Toronto. Eric Hewitt's in. The crowd stomping their feet on the bleachers. They're ready to go. It's homecoming at Western, and we're underway. It's a bit of a squib kick, and it's recovered in the middle of the field. Tripped up at the 46, it looks like. Not a great kick to start the game. I don't know if that was the intention, but the wind is certainly having an impact.
Well, that was a planned strategy definitely by Toronto to squib kick it and hoping to get their coverage team downfield as quickly as possible on the short squib kick because it's bouncing around. So good decision.
So Western gets pretty good field position to start the game here. Finch, he's going to keep it. Finch slides down at the 52.
On the scramble
and Will Finch, we know he is a dual threat quarterback by the book.
Yes, they open up with their zone option offense, and the offensive line moves some bodies back, and Will Finch kept the ball this time and was able to pick up 6 yards.
2nd down and 4 from their own 51. Finch, he's going to hand it off this time. Here's through the middle, and a good run there. It's Garrett Sanvito.
All the way up to the 46. That'll be a Mustang.
Into Toronto's territory. We take a look at the starting offensive line. A line filled with all-stars. Adams, Van Prate, first-team all-stars. Jamison, Meredith, second-team all-stars. They do a quick out to Justin Sanvito, who gets up to the 35 and a flag flies.
Well, the quick pass out to the wide receiver, Sanvito. He took the ball well and then turned upfield immediately and made yards after the catch. And it also looks like Toronto was going to be penalized for a face masking on the play against Justin Sanvito. So right away, little pass, little run.
Take a look at the offensive secondary for Western. A lot of talent and a lot of speed in that offense, Nigel.
Again, a great group of receivers, veteran people that Will Finch can go to, and I think it's going to be exciting to see this offense on a dry track.
So they get the ball now inside the red zone. Finch hits Johnson. George Johnson makes a move and gets down to the 6.
Nice little curl up for Johnson.
Take a look at the defense for Toronto.
Injured player on the field.
Last week, it was Aaron Jervis who had 4 tackles and a tackle for loss against York. Grant McAdam had 2 sacks. And to take a look at the secondary, Stuart McBride, Lamb. We had Lamb last year, had an interception. And last week, we saw Britley McCoby have 2.5 tackles, a tackle for loss. And Mr. Darnell Gerard, who had 10 tackles on the year so far, 3 last week, fourth-year student out of Windsor. We have a man down right now on the field, and it is a Western Mustang. It's Tommy Marshall who gets up, favoring his right arm.
Big hand as he walks off.
Right on that last play, the Western took the ball from the offensive line, immediately threw a pass into George Johnson. He was able to avoid a couple of tackles and get it downfield rather well.
Take another look at it. You see just the flip out. You get it to George Johnson in open space. He can make some men miss there, and took about 4 to get him down.
Well, we now have the first and goal situation here, and looks like Western brought in some heavy personnel to try to pound the ball in.
Western pretty good in the red zone this season. 12 of 14. They hand it off to San Vito. He's got space, and he's got a Western touchdown.
Touchdown.
Yeah, that was power football, handing off to the back, and he was able to follow his lead blockers from the backfield and the offensive line. They really pushed the defensive line back, and Garrett Sanvito actually had an easy scamper into the end zone. So Western's offense is rolling on the first drive.
Toronto did not look like they had a lot of resistance to the Western attack on that drive, as Western went right down the field to open the scoring not a minute and a half into the game. We take another look. No, we're going to go to the extra point here. Medeiros, first-year kicker for the Mustangs. Hasn't missed an extra point this year. A high snap, gets it down, and the kick is good. 7-0 Western, the early advantage. And if you're Toronto, that has to be somewhat deflating on the sideline as we take a look at the San Vito run.
Well, you notice he gets great blocking up front there from Van Prate and also from James Fazakas, the fullback. And Garrett was able to follow them perfectly in the end zone. So good mixture of run and pass on the opening drive.
Take a look again at the blocking here. The huge hole created there, Van Prate leading the way. Zafakis and San Vito, no problem getting Western on the board first. Wind gusting from right to left on your TV screen. Medeiros will kick it off for the Mustangs. It's 5 of 8 field goals on the season, and the ball blows off the tee. Might want to grab someone to hold that for you. The wind is going to be a factor today for sure.
Be interesting to watch to see what instruction the Toronto returners have been given, whether or not they'll go for field position and give up the single.
Zach Medeiros on the season. You see, 5 of 8, only 62%. In a closer game late in the season, that could be a big factor. We got a kickoff here, and it's Medeiros. He's going to boot it. And back to catch it. Toronto will take it out of the end zone. Up the middle, some space. Making a man miss. And a good return there. It's a good return there for Toronto. We got an injury update with John Urban.
In that last scoring drive, Tommy Marshall got hurt. It was some right shoulder injury. 5 training staff were attending to him at the time, and they've taken off of his equipment. If available, Zafakis can go in to fill in for the fullback position, but only time will tell. I know the training staff is working hard to try and get Tommy Marshall back onto the field. Guys?
Thanks, John. He's a big part of their offense. Leading fullback, catches some passes too.
No, he is an integral part to their offense, and anytime you lose any player, it changes the dynamic of your offense. So hopefully it's not serious, and we'll see him back.
So after a 31-yard return from Spencer Stewart, Toronto will start. Simon Nassar, the 4th-year quarterback for Toronto, in the shotgun. They give it. It's a sweep. They're stretching it outside, though, and nowhere to go. Absolutely nowhere to go for Boris Isakov. And they'll lose yardage on the play.
Well, that's great defense by the defensive end, Ricky Okikosi. And he just strung the play out and allowed his linebackers and defensive backs to come up. He just fought off the block, stretched it out. Check it here, and you'll see number 7 string it out.
You can see him just have nowhere to go on the play. Just a sea of purple collapsing on that play. So it's 2nd and 14 for the Varsity Blues as they try to generate anything here They don't want to go 2 and out again, have your defense right back on the field. They're going to run a draw play, and there's nowhere to go. Absolutely nowhere for Devontae Smith to go. They tried to run the delay, but Western was all over it. They're going to force a punt after Toronto loses 6 yards on the drive.
Well, up front, the defensive tackles there closed the play down really quickly, and Toronto has a 2 quick and out, which is not the kind of start they were hoping for.
Well, the thing you said that Toronto needs to do is keep Western's offense off the field, and right now, they're not doing that.
Well, the defense, Western's defense came to play, and you can see on those first 2 plays, they were all over Toronto, and I'm sure the coaching staff hopes that continues throughout the game.
Aaron Gazendam back to punt for the Toronto Varsity Blues on the year, averaging 36 yards per kick. His longest punt was a 55-yarder. Though he's kicking against the wind right now, and you can see that the Western returners aren't too far back. They anticipate this wind will knock the kick down. Justin Sanvito and Shaquille Johnson back to return. Snap's good, and the punt is short. Shaquille Johnson fields it at the 50, but he doesn't really have anywhere to go, and he will take it down to the Toronto 50, a return of 10 yards.
Return up to the 50
and Western's offense will come right back onto the field.
Well, good coverage by the Varsity Blues that time, and the low kick and not too great distance allowed the coverage team to be right there when Shaquille made the catch and got a few yards going upfield.
So the Western attack will come right back to work. Finch back to pass, airs it out to the sideline, and George Johnson manages to stay in bounds, tries to fight for the first down. And it's a good job by Johnson, working hard to get a few extra yards on that play.
Again, yards after the catch, quick throw out to George, makes the first 2 people miss, and then Varsity came down and made some good tackles and hits.
Take another look at it. You can see him 1-2, just drives the legs and gets an extra 3 yards on the play. He could have just gone out of bounds, but George Johnson's not that kind of player. He's going to fight for those extra yards.
Right, number 21 for Varsity there has to be a little careful how he comes in on the tackle, leading with his head. I know the officials are really looking for that this year in terms of how the tackles are being made.
Falls forward over the
Finch
40,
keeps it, gets the first down. Didn't need many yards, he only needed 2, and he managed to get 3. Gets to the 39, and a big, tall guy, Will Finch is, 6'3", 215 pounds, third-year student out of Burlington, Ontario. It's a big load to take down. Finch back to pass. There's some pressure on him. He fires it out there, and the blitz, I think, made it a little harder for Finch to set his feet and throw that one, and he overthrew Brian Marshall on the sideline.
Yeah, he did seem to be a bit hurried in the throw, and Brian made a good effort at it, just off his fingertips. But you see someone came right up the middle there in Will's face, and he had to get rid of the ball right away. Another second of protection, and the ball perhaps could have been right on line.
First real defensive stand here potentially for Toronto. Finch back to pass, play action, fires out to the sideline. It's a nice catch by George Johnson, but it's not going to be enough for a first down. It's a gain of 9. A very nice catch, though, by George Johnson, keeping his feet in bounds. And Western on 3rd and 1 from the 30. I don't think there's any question what they're going to do here.
No, a good second down play, having Johnson just run the sideline route. He was right at the marker. Now they bring in the heavy unit, and they'll probably just pound the ball and try to get the yard.
Finch going under center, trying to do the quick count here, and he will. He didn't get much. This will be close.
It will be close, and not a great surge that time by the offensive line, and Will had to really lean in trying to get that yard. Good stand by the defensive front of Varsity.
It looks like they're going to bring the chains out, and from first glance, I'd say this is short. But they're going to head on out. Finch, you're right, didn't really have anywhere to go, kind of just fell off to the side. This would be a big stop for Toronto if it is indeed short. And let's take a look. They mark it there, and it is short. Short by about a football and a half, and Toronto with a big defensive stop.
Over on downs, first down Blues.
Has quieted the crowd a little bit here at TD Stadium.
Well, good for the Toronto Blues in terms of stopping Western's offense on the 3rd and short, give them a sense of accomplishment and making sure that the game doesn't get away from them, and here their offense comes on and has an opportunity to get right back into it.
They were not able to gain any yards in their first possession. They lost yards on each of their 2 offensive plays before punting it away. Nassar in the shotgun. Had a big week last week against York, but this is not York. This is Western. There's a good pass, spinning away Isaacov, and they're going to call a penalty. I'm not sure about that one. I think, are they calling that for a high hit or aim at the head there?
Hobbs.
Might be a shot to the head. It was certainly a high hit by the Western player on the receiver. So, as I said earlier, the officials are paying close attention to that. It might have been a blow to the head.
Defense, 15 yards.
Yep. Mics aren't working too well with the wind here today, but they're calling unnecessary roughness on the Western Mustangs. And that's going to tack on 15 yards to the play. Put it down to the 51-yard line. So Western costing themselves yards on the defensive end here. They do take a lot of penalties, average double-digit penalties per game. Under 10 to go here in the first. Nassar hands it off. Going to the right side and getting very limited yardage. Devontae Smith, who last week had 18 carries, 112 yards, and 2 touchdowns as we take a look at Simon Nassar, 4th-year student, 5'10", 195 pounds, out of Toronto. On the season, 67% completion rate, 752 yards. He has 3 TDs and an interception. He's trying to lead Toronto down the field here. But that last carry gained nothing from Devontae Smith. He's back to pass this time. Throws it across the middle and it's dropped. A good chance for Michael Kanopoulos. I don't know if he would have got a first down. They would have probably gained 5 or 6, but a pass he should have caught.
Certainly should have caught it. The ball was thrown low, and it was right into his hands. And I'm not sure if he was thinking of the hit, trying to get upfield a little too quickly, but he certainly didn't secure it, and now Toronto is forced to punt the ball.
Well, their last punt went about 33 yards. We'll see if Gazendam can do a little bit better on this one. Snapped in Toronto territory at the 51. He'll be kicking it from around his own 39-yard line. Again, Sanvito and Johnson not very far back. That's a better kick, though. Johnson at his own 23. Shaquille Johnson spins, and he's tackled. Western will have the ball back. They're up 7-0, 8:34 to go in the first quarter. It's homecoming at TD Stadium on Mustangs TV.
Well, the CIS rankings were released today, and the football program remains atop the CIS poll with 21st place votes. The Varsity second, Calgary third. All 3 teams finishing the regular season with 8-0 conference records. The Mustangs hosted Varsity this weekend in the OUA semifinals at TD Stadium.
Let's go, baby. Time to go to work.
Welcome to Golden Hawk Lake. Is this the new Toyota Highlander?
Yep.
Must feel like your own little world in here.
I
Does
guess.
this world of yours have a name?
No.
Ever look at the stars through your moonroof?
I have.
Ever wish upon them?
No.
Backup camera, like having eyes in the back of your head? A little. 1 or 2 eyes. It has a V6 engine, right?
Yes, sir.
Is it powerful?
Definitely.
Do you think I'm powerful?
Possibly.
The all-new Toyota Highlander. One look, and you'll want to know more.
The road trip. It's freedom. It's exploration. It's about new experiences. And This road trip has been brought to you by Pioneer
Welcome
Bonus
back to
Bucks.
TD Stadium. Sorry we had a bit of a miscommunication on the field, but what we've missed is a couple plays from Western and an unnecessary roughness late hit out of bounds on Toronto. The fullback for Western, James Safakis, went out of bounds and took a late shot, which tacks on 15 yards to the play. And all of a sudden, they're at Toronto's 35 and threatening to score again. This is about where their last drive stalled. Finch back to pass, throws it, and that is intercepted. Picked off by Brittany McCoobie.
Well, it's easy to watch upstairs here and see where the ball should or should not go. Will Finch that time threw right into double coverage. So Brian Marshall was in the hole, but he was covered on both sides, and they just stepped in front.
See Finch. Yeah, McCoobie, I don't know if he saw him there, but he was all over that play. Not a smart play by Will Finch. And now Toronto will get the ball back. 7.5 to go in the first. And they're doing a good job stopping this Western offense the last couple possessions. Nassar fakes it, throws it, short side, and with some space to go. A decent pickup by Toronto. It's good enough for a first down. Rahul Madan, the former Mustang. We go down to John Urban, who's got an injury update for us. John.
Very much, guys. Tommy Marshall headed back to the locker room, but as you just seen 2 or 3 plays ago, Safakis is filling in quite nicely, making a run to the sideline. He got popped pretty hard there. His helmet came off, but yet, you know what? A good old Western Mustang. He picks up his helmet, goes right back into the huddle, and he's hungry for more. Back to you guys in the booth.
Thank you, John. So that last play picked up 11 for Toronto. The pitch play, Devontae Brown. He's got some space, and Brown out to the 44-yard line. A gain of about
Smith on the carry, up to
10 on the play.
First down.
Well, that play was strung out really well by the defensive end for Western, and they had no fill. I think the linebacker came in and actually slipped and was unable to make the tackle.
Some good seal blocking on the outside by the Varsity Blues. 6 and 20 seconds to go here at TD Stadium in the first quarter. Nassar gets the snap, fakes it. Here's a good hole again for the Varsity Blues. Lucas Gavick on the year has rushed for 230 yards and 4 touchdowns for the Varsity Blues. Gains about 7 on the play, and all of a sudden they're getting good chunk yardage here on the Western defense.
Very good first down run. Pulled 2 offensive linemen. They came around the corner, led them upfield, and gained 7 yards.
So now Toronto, the 5th play of the drive, they are driving, trying to get to Western territory for the first time today. The handoff is to Brown. Devontae Brown is going to be just short of the first down marker, it appears, and it's going to be 3rd down and about half a yard for Toronto. So now it's a decision time for the Varsity Blues.
Smith on the carry, wrapped up.
Well, it is a yard to go. If I'm Toronto, I'd be kicking the ball. Field position's important, and I know they would love to keep this momentum going, but you don't want to, when you've done well, move the ball, taken a turnover, got a couple of first downs, let's just get the ball deep into Western territory, and hopefully the defense can hold them off.
That's exactly what Greg Gary has chosen to do. Gazendam's kick is not a great one. It's going to go straight out of bounds. And Western's going to get the ball at the 40-yard line. It's a net punt of 17 yards for the Toronto Varsity Blues.
Really good pressure on that special teams play there by Western. They had a number of people very close to blocking the punt. So credit to the special teams on being prepared and trying to get a big play early in the game.
So Western, who has stalled their last 2 drives inside the Toronto 35-yard line, try to get back into the rhythm of things. Finch back to pass. But falling on the play was Matt Uren. He slipped and fell. Lucky for Western that no Toronto defenders were in the area, because that pass was right for the picking.
It was actually lucky, I believe, for Toronto, too, because Matt Uren was wide open, and he came out a little bit under, not out of control, and he slipped and lost his balance. Otherwise, he would have caught the ball and still be heading upfield.
Second down and 10. Finch back to pass, some pressure coming through. And he hits Brian Marshall on the sidelines, and that'll be a gain of 11. And a first down for Western, it appears. Just on the first down marker, and they'll move the chains.
Well, good job by Western's offensive line there. Toronto brought a little bit of pressure. I think they came with 6, possibly 7 that time, and the offensive line gave Will Finch time to get rid of the ball. So an easy throw and catch to Marshall.
It's a handoff up the middle, and not gaining a ton there was Yannick Carew.
Gain of 3 on the play.
Gain of about 3 on the play. 2nd and 7 coming up, and if you're Toronto, you can be pretty happy with only a 2-yard gain on first down.
I'm sure they are. Western's now looking at the 2nd and 7 here. And
they're going to hand it off again. Carew gets to the outside. Yannick Carew makes a man miss and gets down to the Toronto 40-yard line.
Well, initially that play was well opened up by Western, and then Varsity Blue was in there, and I thought it was going to be actually taken down for a loss, but a great run and great move by Yannick, and he was able to really do that on his own and move the sticks.
17-yard run for Yannick Carew, first down. This time Finch will throw it. Matt Uren out in the flats. Gains a few, goes out of bounds at the 34-yard line.
Good first down call there by Western, and moving the yard marker and gaining, 6-7 yards on first down. It really opens up your play selection when you're looking at 2nd and 3 as opposed to 2nd and 7.
This is about where the last 2 drives ended for Western. They hand it off up the middle. Carew again gets a first down inside the 30 to the 27.
Getting through the line well with some nice blocking up front. Just an arm tripped him up. Otherwise, he might still be running. But Jamison laid out a couple of great blocks there on that play.
Man down for Toronto is Dylan Gordon, 4th-year linebacker out of Cambridge, Ontario. And he's getting to his knees here. Looks to be all right. Western, after a couple stalled drives, they're working pretty well here. You look at the last 2 games for the Mustangs. They had a bye the first week. It's a pretty late home opener for them, September 20th. But they went to York, won 61-0. Really didn't play their starters in the second half of that one. And then last week started off a little bit sloppy, but the offense picked it up, and the defense really kept Queens limited with a 43-12 win. As they help Gordon off the field, it'll be 1st and 10, Western from the 29. As we rejoin action now. I haven't seen Finch keep the ball for a while, but the short intermediate throws have been working well. And now Finch back to pass. Over the middle, he's got a wide open Brian Marshall. And Western is on the board once again.
Well, nice play call there and excellent execution. Had 3 receivers set to the wide field, and they took 2 of them on verticals, and then Brian Marshall, coming underneath one of the verticals into a post pattern, was wide open in the middle. Will Finch stepped up behind great protection and threw a great pass, and Brian caught it and went into the end zone.
Wide open over the middle of the field. Western, after a couple stalled drives, back into the end zone. Medeiros will try to make it 14-0 for Western. And the crowd is reignited once again. Strong drive from the Mustangs, and you have to start wondering, Toronto's defense has spent a lot of time on the field here. Medeiros ready to kick. And there it is. Medeiros boots it through. It's 14-0. Western on top. And for Western, they'll be kicking off to Toronto when we come back. It's 14-0 Western late in the first quarter here on Mustangs TV.
Hey now, pictures cover all the walls, and I'm addicted to the opera, no opera, but hey, I like it all. Hey now, radio silence gets so loud. If you're gonna play the fiddle, better tell it to the crowd. I know the way you feel. You gotta just what's real. Oh, you got the love you're thinking out.
Western up 14-0, and they're ready to kick off. But first, we've got an injury update with John Urban.
I'm sure Nigel can speak to this. It's a little hard to diagnose a concussion when there's 10,000 fans screaming around you. And the other person was Britley McCuby, was getting his right ankle taped. Both should be expected back into this game, but a little worse for wear. Back to you guys in the booth.
Thank you, John. Once again, the ball's going to have to be held down just because of the wind conditions here. Blowing again from right to left on your screen. Medeiros rips a good kick into the end zone. No one is there to get it, and that's going to be a single for Western. Medeiros boots it right through the end zone, and the wind aids the Mustangs there into getting them an extra point.
Almost on the fly.
Well, I'm sure special teams coordinator Coach Chris Marcus wanted him to do that the last time he kicked off, and Medeiros has the leg, and he really connected this time and certainly put it out of reach for the returners.
15-0 now for Western as the crowd has filled up. It is sold out, as it is every homecoming here at Western. It's a sea of purple cheering on the Mustangs as they are off to a pretty good start here in the first quarter. Varsity Blues trying to answer, doing the best they can. Nassar back to pass. It's a good catch there, and a gain of about 7 on the play for Rahul Madan, former Western Mustang receiver.
Yeah, terrific young man when he was here playing at Western, and is very happy being in Toronto, his hometown, and enjoying his experience. And he's a great football player and a great young man.
2nd and 4. Delayed snap count. Nassar back to pass again. Airs it out deep. That's a good catch. What a nice play by Boris Isakov to make the play over the shoulder. Big first down for the Varsity Blues.
Well, the coverage was right there by Calvin Johnson, and a little bit of a height disadvantage, but the ball came in perfectly over the shoulder. And even though the coverage was right there, good concentration on the ball by the receiver, and he's able to hold on to it. And they now are looking at a first down on the 40-yard line.
28-yard gain for the Varsity Blues, and they're into Western territory for the first time today. Oh, but the snap is dropped, and sliding down on it is Nassar at Western's 53. It's a loss of 12.
Tough break for Varsity. Toronto here has a great play, and then they try to keep some momentum and unable to handle the snap, and it just kills you when you make those kind of mistakes.
Toronto has to play a near flawless game if they want to hang around, and plays like that really burn the momentum after such a nice play. And now that's going to make this second down very, very difficult. 22 yards to go. And if you're talking about getting into field goal range, they're kicking against the wind right now. And we've got a timeout called by the Varsity Blues.
Well, the coaches on the sideline saw something they didn't like in terms of what the offensive set was, or perhaps they saw how Western's defense was going to align against that particular offense and quickly called the timeout, and will readjust the play and formation perhaps.
So when you've got a 2nd and 22, how do you attack that as an offense?
Well, number one, first you look at the conditions out here, and he's throwing into a pretty strong wind, so that limits your, vertical push down the field. And I'm thinking offensively he'll just try to either run a screen draw or a short pass and look for yards after the catch, and not try to be too greedy. I think it'd be a different call if he was thrown with the wind and able to get it downfield vertically.
Oh, we saw just 2 plays ago a nice throw from Nassar, who on the season 67% completion percentage. You just want to get a decent chunk here because you're probably going to want to go for it on 3rd down.
Well, they've spread the field here.
Try to get the Mustangs to jump, no avail. We've done that delayed count a couple times here, and it hasn't worked. Play clock down to 4, and flags fly from every official.
Well, again, that is beating yourself. The offensive tackle, left offensive tackle for Toronto, moved too early, and that really hurts the offense. And I know it's tough down there, a lot of noise, but they had the the snap count set up so they could see what defense Western was going to go to. They saw the defense, they reset, and were ready to go, and then a mistake.
What was a beautiful first down turns into a 2nd and 27 for the Varsity Blues. We have received word that Tommy Marshall is back on the sideline for the Mustangs. It's good news for them. Toronto looking for any good news right now. A little shuffle pass and nowhere to go. A huge tackle there. Preston Huggins was all over the play.
Well, that didn't work very well.
Huge play by the defense. It's a loss of 1.
3rd down.
And what looked to be a promising drive for a little bit there for Toronto goes south in a real hurry, Nigel.
It sure did, and they get more limited with each error that they made in terms of their play calling, and Western was totally prepared. Huggins all over that play. Great defensive stand.
Toronto shooting themselves in the foot big time, and then that last play, a good play by Huggins. 3rd punt of the quarter here for Gazendam. That one's a low one. It looks like it may have hit. Did it hit a Mustang? It may have, but it looks like they're going to call a no yards penalty here.
Well, I'm
Western
not
did
sure.
recover.
We'll have to check the replay to see if it did hit the leg on the Western player, and if it did, then obviously Toronto's going to get the ball. We'll just have to watch the replay.
See the low kick here.
No, it didn't hit him, so now it's going to be Western's ball. They'll wave off that no yard in terms of the Toronto guy making the falling on the football, but it's Western's ball, 1st down.
So they'll get it from their own 36. Just over a minute to go here in the 1st quarter. Handoff is to San Vito, pushed out of bounds.
Well, good defense by Toronto there. Western brought their wide receiver down, trying to
4 yards on the play,
get a
2nd down.
crack block in there and get Garrett Sanvito outside. Toronto was able to string it out and limit the gain to about 3 yards.
So it's a 2nd and about 7 here for Western as we tick under a minute to go in the 1st quarter. Now, if they end up having to punt, it would be nice to do it before you switch ends and have to kick against the wind. Oh, bobbled snap there by San Vito. Manages to hold on to the football. That could have been real dangerous.
Well, it's going to, sorry Christian, but it's going to be an interesting call here for Coach Marshall. He's looking at perhaps 1.5. Doesn't hesitate, lines them up, and away they go.
They go for it on 3rd and 2, and no problem for San Vito. Pounds it right up the middle, gains 4, only needed 2.
Well, good quick call, good blocking up front. They got the 1st down easily. I was a little surprised there as the Toronto defensive end was clearly lined up way offside, but the official didn't see it.
Finch back to pass. He's going deep. George Johnson. Oh, George Johnson stopped running on the play.
A little bit. I think what happened, he's running the deep post pattern, and he cut to the post. The ball was thrown a little bit vertically over his head, and he's trying to adjust, and then the wind, if you saw the end of the throw, the wind picked up the ball and even took it further. It's a difficult, deep throw when the wind is that strong.
2nd down. Finch fires it to the sideline, and it's caught there by Matt Uren, and he's going to gain about 9.
Steps out of bounds after
Right, lots of room on that side of the field and the underneath there with Matt Uren just running a 8-9 yard out and able to get 9 yards, and now they're looking at 3rd and short again.
And it'll likely be the last play of the 1st quarter.
Well, they substitute their heavy unit in.
They are so far today 2 of 3 on 3rd down conversions. They line up. It's been Finch carrying it every time on 3rd down, except the last one when San Vito plowed his way through for 4. Looks like, oh, they got the jump offside.
Flag on the play.
Will Finch snap count, gives them the hard count. And Toronto Western doesn't even need to run a play to get the first down. Toronto again shooting
the
themselves in the
Blues.
foot.
Penalty. First down.
A first down for Western on a penalty.
Well, I think that means one more play this quarter with the wind.
Yep.
Because you can't end the quarter on the penalty.
Do you take a deep shot here?
That's a good time to take it before you're going against the wind, but Will Finch has got a strong enough arm that even though when Western goes against the wind, he'll be able to fire it down the field.
They're going to take a throw. They're going to go deep anyway. Over the middle. It's intercepted. Picked off. And it's Jaden McBride, the second interception of the first quarter for Will Finch. Not a strong note for the Mustangs to end it off on, but they take a 15-0 lead after one quarter of play. Not a bad start for the Mustangs. Toronto will try to answer. They'll start the ball. Second quarter action coming up after the break on Mustangs TV.
What do I like best about Brescia? I love the light.
The values here are my values: compassion, creativity, empowerment.
I love it that we're all from different places, different backgrounds, and we're all women.
The campus is gorgeous, and there's something going on 24/7.
That's easy. Dr. Garcia. I wouldn't be headed to grad school if she hadn't inspired me to follow my dream from day one.
Brescia's got a deep-rooted history going back nearly 100 years, and yet what I'm studying is right on the edge.
For me, it's always been about my Brescia family.
I came to Brescia to discover my strengths.
The new residence is where my friends and I hang out and recharge.
In 2 minutes, I can cross the street and go from this intimate campus where I know everybody to one of the busiest universities in Canada.
I love living at Brescia and working out at Western.
These students, their passion for learning, their curiosity about the world, I learn from them every day.
I sleep well, I eat well, and I've never wanted to work so hard.
Studying at Brescia has given me the space to find myself and my voice.
What'll be your favorite thing about Brescia? Come and find out.
TD Stadium, folks. We're about to start the second quarter of action. Mustangs take a 15-0 lead into the second quarter. A touchdown pass to Brian Marshall and a Garrett Sanvito touchdown run. Are the points on the board? Toronto trying to muster something with their offense. Starting from their own 18, the deepest in their own end they've started today. Nassar back to pass, quick out. It's caught. It's a gain of about 6 on the play. It's Rahul Madan again. Third catch of the day.
Right, sure-handed receiver Rahul Madan. They run a little hitch route to him, take a man out to try to block the corner. He comes underneath it, and he was able to pick up good 6-7 yards, first yard downage.
Good chunks are what they need, and it's what they did at the start of the last drive before they really started making mental mistakes. They got to keep those out of their game if they want to compete today. Second down and 4 for Toronto. Nassar back to pass. They're going to go to the same play, and there's no one there. No one was looking for the ball.
Well, it wasn't thrown exactly where they needed to. It was same kind of hitch concept from a different formation, bringing the receivers from one side to the other to try to move the defense over. Took a back out to try to block the corner, but Madan, who was coming underneath the block, was not able to get to the ball because I really think the quarterback missed his spot.
Either he threw it too early or too far outside, but both receivers didn't look like they knew the ball was coming. And now Gazendam, after another 2 and out, is going to punt. This time he's got the wind with him at his back. Bobbled the snap a bit, gets a good kick off. It is over the head of everybody. That's going to bounce into the end zone, and that is a humongous kick. Out of the back of the end zone, San Vito not ready for it.
Well, they really need to be a little bit deeper. It was a terrific punt. They were certainly back deeper than they were into the wind. But because they had 2 personnel back there, it would have been easy to have a deep man and an up man at better distances.
That'll go down as an 86-yard punt for Aaron Gazendam. Huge yardage, and we go to John Urban now on the sideline, John.
1 point put on the board there by the Toronto Varsity Blues in the second quarter. That is the first point the Western Mustangs have conceded in the second quarter of play this season. In fact, they've held their opponents shut out through the second and fourth quarters leading into this game. They've also outscored their opponents now by a total of 71-1 in the second and fourth quarters of play. Back to you guys in the booth.
Huge quarters for the Mustangs. And they're start off this drive with a nice gain to George Johnson, a gain of 16 on the first play. Finch, he overthrew that one.
Right, he's having George just run about at 9-yard out, underneath just having Matt Uren hold the corner up, so he was open. He just missed him with the pass.
Second down and 10 now for the Mustangs. They fake the handoff. Finch over the middle. This time he's got Brian Marshall. A good gain up to the 39.
Much better throw by Will Finch that time. Had his feet set well. Delivered a strike to Brian, just running a little in route.
Gain of 20 on the play. We'll see Brian Marshall in play action. Lots of space over the middle.
Yeah, Will just looked to the right side, took the defense over, then came back to hit Brian on the in route.
They hit Shaquille Johnson on the outside. Shaquille Johnson makes a few miss and gets down to the 15.
Quick hitter to Shaquille, isolated him outside. He made the first couple people miss, and as you see, gifted athlete when he gets the ball in his hand. It's nice to watch him see guys miss. Excellent athletic ability.
24-yard gain for Shaquille Johnson. He's the CIS Rookie of the Year a couple years ago with McGill. Decided to transfer to Western, and now he's in his second game with the Mustangs. Finch over the middle. Oh, no one was there. It looked like San Vito, sorry, that's Uren, looking for a call, thinking there was some contact there from a defender. And again, that ball was in the midst of 3 Varsity Blues defenders and could have been caught by any of them.
Well, what happened was Matt Uren was running a corner route. He got tied up, and perhaps with his feet.
It looks like his feet. You see
on
the right side there.
His feet just tied up, and rather than look for the flag, he's got to make sure that he's not too close to the defender, so those sorts of things happen.
Uren gets the ball again. And this time it won't be enough for the first down. Interesting to see if Western goes for it here or if they take the 3 points. They have a tendency to just go for it.
Well, they're bringing their heavy unit in. They're looking at 3rd and 2. They've had success with the heavy unit handing off, running the ball.
And it looks like they're going to go for it again. They have yet to do anything on 3rd down today but go for it. They have not kicked it once on 3rd down, and that's not going to change here. Will Finch is going to hand it off. Yannick Caru's got enough for the first down to the 2-yard line.
Again, power football, just running to the left side. Big bodies up front. Yannick follows his blockers and successfully gains the first down.
Good surge again. He needed 2 and he got 5. No problem now, but what can Toronto do? Western seems to effortlessly be able to gain these few yards when they need them. And right now they only need 2 to get another 6 points. They go 3 in the backfield, and no problem. It looks like he's stonewalled just inside the end zone, and it will be a touchdown. And it's Yannick Carew getting the touchdown score for Western.
Well, he took the hand off, and there was a good surge, and he just ran to the goal line and was in. And I'm not sure if he jumped a bit as he was crossing the goal line, and then 2 Toronto players hit him, and as you said, stopped him cold and sent him back, but he'd already broken the plane, so fortunately it's a touchdown.
That is Haru's second touchdown of the season. Last year, he had 8 of them. It's only his second of the year, but he's working on that. There's another conversion, good from Zach Medeiros, the horse stomping around the outside track. 22-1 Western.
Well, a good-looking drive into the wind. Again, mixing up pass and run, and the only time it seems that Western is not able to move the ball so far in the game is usually by an error they made in terms of either throwing where the ball should not be thrown, or on that short yardage situation where they didn't get a very good surge. So Western in a comfortable lead at this point.
They lead by 3 touchdowns. Both teams each have a rouge as well. And we'll see what Medeiros can do kicking against the wind. Toronto, they need a boost of some kind, and maybe they can get it from their special teams. Kevin Bradfield, one of the best returners in the league, has the career punt return yard record for Toronto School. Led the CIS and OUA last year in punt return yardage, also their kickoff returner. Averages about 13 yards per punt return. That kick gets hung up in the wind. It hit a wall at the 25. And just getting absolutely slammed to the ground. It's what a good tackle there by Lloyd Bureau. Just picked him up like a wrestler and slammed him to the ground.
Great coverage, but more impressive was, what happened on the kick, and I would assume that has been practiced. He just kicked it up in the air and allowed the wind to hold it up when you're kicking into the wind, and the wind really held it up, and it almost caught the Toronto returners by surprise, which you would think they'd be ready for that into the wind.
So this drive starts at the Toronto 27. They've ventured into Western territory once. A pump fake Nassar. He's thrown out and thrown down.
Well, again, a natural selection call in terms of sequencing by the Toronto offense. They'd run a couple of hitches to that short side. And this time, instead of the other receiver who's going out to block the corner, instead of blocking, he turns upfield and tries to run a go route. And
nothing there. Darryl
nothing there because you need the extra protection. And he just didn't have it for that extra second so that the play can develop.
It's a loss of 7 on the play. Again, a second and long for Toronto. There's been too many of these. That ball goes off the fingertips of the receiver.
Well, they just brought the running back out of the backfield on a little pivot route, released him to the wide side of the field, and then tried to pivot him back underneath. And the ball was thrown high. The linebackers for Western were there. Even if the catch had been, I think it would have been maybe a 3 or 4 yard gain. Tough to move the downs on 2nd and 10 with that kind of play.
Lucas Gavick was out in the flats, but you're right. There was nowhere for him to go. And it looks like Toronto's going to call a timeout here on the punt team.
Well, I don't know. We should count them up. Maybe they don't have enough personnel. That's what it was. They were short.
They were. Again, just mental mistakes costing Toronto here today.
Right. Here we are into the 4th game of the season for Toronto, and you'd like to think from a coaching perspective by the 4th game those kind of errors are not taking place, but there's a lot that goes on the sidelines, and communicating with a large number of players, and people get bumped and bruised, and suddenly someone's out and someone else has to go in. It can easily happen, but from a coaching perspective, you don't want it to happen.
So Toronto's burned 2 of their first half timeouts already. And on the last kick, Aaron Gazendam got an 86-yard punt single. See what he can do again. This time, Western's returners have to know that the wind is going to help the kick, and they should be ready for it this time. Stadium gets quiet here. Gazendam ready for the kick. letting the play clock run down. Kick is a little bit shorter this time, and Shaquille Johnson will field it at his own 45. Johnson makes one man miss, makes another miss, but in the end, he only gains 2.
Johnson on the
Right, and he made a nice catch on the ball and again was able to avoid the first tackler. But really on the punt return, what you want to see is the returner just catch the ball and immediately knife up the field and try to break a seam. The moment you start that little dance step, etc., people who are coming down in their lanes get you lined up, and it's far more difficult on the return.
That punt was only 33 yards. They give the handoff. No, it's not. Finch kept it on the mesh play, but he had nowhere to go.
Well, he had trouble with his feet that time. And
lots of a couple on the play.
was reading the defensive end, number 67, who was in there, and resulted in a 2-yard loss.
Finch rolls out this time. He's looking deep. He fires it over the middle. Marshall is there, well covered on the play, but Marshall still able to gain about
pass over the middle, complete to
11
Marshall.
yards, 12 yards, enough for the first down.
For Mustang.
It was actually a really smart route by Brian Marshall. Will Finch threw a strike to him. Brian ran down, curled outside, was covered, and went back inside and got himself open. So smart move by the receiver, Brian Marshall, and a great throw.
Almost like he boxed out his defender there. Finch fakes the pass, goes out, well covered, and nowhere to go. So there was some pressure on the outside, did not pursue it, and we go down to John Urban with an injury update on the sideline. John?
Thank you very much, Christian. As you see, Jesse McNair just getting stretched out here on the Western bench. A little cramping here and there, a little wear and tear, if you will, from homecoming. But just after speaking with the young gentleman, that's a killer on defense for our Western Mustangs. He says he'll be back in the game in no time. Back to you guys in the booth.
Thank you, John. A run up the middle. And 2nd and 10 is going to gain
San Vito up the middle.
About 6. It's San Vito up to the 43. And that makes 3rd down and short a lot more manageable.
It's still an interesting call. They were 3rd and 4, and again, Coach Marshall is going for it.
Why would he change his formula now? Finch is going to keep it, gets a good block, and Finch will slide down to the 35 for a first down.
Gets up to the 35.
Well, zone run again, and a great read by quarterback Will Finch. Leaving the ball in Garrett Sanvito's hands for a second. Defender went there, he pulls it out. Easily able to gain the 4 or 5 yards.
He's going to throw this time. He's got all kinds of time. He airs it out deep. Shaquille Johnson. There's a lot of contact, and the flag flies.
Pass intended for Shaquille Johnson.
Shaquille got himself open behind the defender. The ball hung up a bit in the air, probably due to the heavy wind coming against it because Shaquille was open. And then when he went up for the pass, you see it here, ball gets hung up in the air because he's behind the defender, and the defender comes back and totally interferes with him, and Western gets a 15-yard penalty.
He came back for the ball, but the defender was not looking at the ball whatsoever. Totally shielding the receiver.
Not only shielding him, but running into him and knocking him, and you're right, it was an easy call for the official. Now going back down to the sideline there for that last injury report, I think you'll see a lot more of that happen in today's game because one simple condition is that today's a very hot day, and for the last 2-3 weeks, players have been playing in a lot cooler weather, and they're going to get a great deal of cramping going on in terms of their hydration, so you might see a couple more of those reports coming in like that.
Finch in the shotgun. He's going to hand it off and getting away from a few blocks. Oh, what a run there.
Great run by Adam Sinclair. He's an outstanding young running back, and he did that on his own. He made people miss, and he's a gifted athlete, and it's nice to see him come back from that injury that he got last year.
Sinclair makes a few miss in the backfield. That could have been a loss even, but he makes it into a 13-yard gain inside the 10 for Western. Finch is going to keep it this time. He's got time. He's got a man. He got a foot in bounds. And that's a touchdown. What a catch by Matt Uren.
Great pass and catch. Matt Uren had a defender right on him. Will Finch put it in the only place he could, running that little corner route to the side. great throw and catch.
Get the
Matt gets
foot.
his foot inbounds, and the defender takes him out. But again, well-executed drive by Western. Scoring another touchdown is Matt Uren.
Perfect throw and a very nice job by Uren making sure that he planted that foot in bounds. Another strong drive by the Mustangs. And they are building a nice lead here. The extra point from Medeiros, 29-1 for the Western Mustangs. And we will head to break. It is a 29-1 lead for Western here on Mustangs TV. We will be back shortly with more second quarter action here from TD Stadium.
Someday your life will flash before your eyes. Make it worth watching. The all-new Lexus LSF Sport. An entirely new pursuit.
Every day you go new places. A small change in how you do things, or moving your things to a whole new town, or many things to many towns, all at once. No matter how small the move, it can be a big leap from where you are now. You've got it in you to go new places. So do we. We go there every day. We're here to help you move to places on the map, in the mind, in the heart, or all three.
Go new places with AMJ Campbell. Contact us at 888-AMJ-MOVE or amjcampbell.com.
Welcome back to TD Stadium. Western building quite a strong lead, 29-1. Not sure if too many people are surprised by that, Nigel. I think a lot of people were expecting Western to dominate today, and so far they have.
Well, they have. The offense has done a great job, and one of the reasons the offense is scoring like it is that defense is playing great football. And you have to remember, Toronto scored 70 points last week, and our defense, or Western's defense, has come out here and done a great job and given the offense great field position and put them in opportunities where they can score. So on both sides of the ball, an excellent piece of work so far.
Medeiros, again, it gets hung up in the wind, and it's caught at the 10 by Bradfield. Bradfield hits the outside, makes a man miss, and goes out to the 30. Not a bad return, 20 yards for Bradfield. Now, you talked about players playing in hot conditions today. Does playing on the artificial turf here at TD Stadium make it warmer for the players?
First down.
Well, it is warmer in terms of the heat coming off the surface, but I think the point I was trying to make was that we've had a cool September, and the players haven't been practicing in the heat, and therefore all of a sudden they get to game day, the most important day, and suddenly it's 24 degrees, and hydration becomes an issue. And that's why you'll see players starting to cramp up more, because they're not hydrating properly, and it's simply they haven't been used to this kind of heat over the last 3 weeks.
Pretty warm for a late September day, though I don't anticipate it'll get much warmer than this going forward.
Well, you just jinxed it. That means, actually, that's a good jinx. That just means we're going to have a great October, great warm weather.
Oh, Nassar, wow, managed to hold on to the football there. Flicks it deep, and wide open is Kanopoulos. And he will be taken down at the 18-yard line. A huge play for Toronto.
Complete to 82.
Well, a great throw and great play by the quarterback.
Calvin Johnson on the
Took
tackle, first down Blues.
Took a horrific hit.
Huge hit at the
after the end. I mean, good for him stepping up there. And then really what happened on that play was the defensive back thought the sack was going to happen and sort of let up on his coverage. And then he got behind him.
And just poor tackling by the Mustangs. A gain of 60 on the play for Toronto. It looked like the defender was going to push him out of bounds. Kanopoulos stayed inbounds and kept on his feet and gained maybe 20 extra yards. Nassar now back to pass. Panicking, he rolls out. He's got all kinds of time, and it looks like he underthrew his man, and he did. Incomplete, trying for Kanopolis again at the 15. We'll take a look at the big play again. You can watch at the end the huge hit Nassar takes. Just a huge shot, and at the other end, look at this tackling. Just drag him down. Jean-Gabriel Poulin with a big hit on the quarterback. And Calvin Johnson, usually better tackler than that at the end of the play.
Much better tackler. I think he was probably upset that he allowed the defender to get by him. It was a mental lapse thinking that the sack was taking place.
Nassar now on second down, has a lot of time. Penalty flag is down. Nassar's going to keep it. He's going to keep it. He goes to the sideline, and he may have gotten a first down. It looks like he got to about the 9-yard line. Penalty flags are down, though. We'll take a look at what the call is.
Well, I think there's two different calls on the play. The far one by the line official is offside Toronto, and then there's another one in the secondary that we'll have to wait and see what that one was, but definitely offside by Toronto.
And it looks like that is the call. They're going to march it back 5 yards. That play won't count, and it's going to be second down and 15 from the 23 now.
So there must have been not only the offside play, but an objection or a holding call as well. So they took the holding penalty.
29-yard line.
So that's a 10-yard penalty instead of a 5-yard penalty. 2 penalties on the play for Toronto. And once again, they face a second and very long.
And there you go, because the quarterback had scrambled, and you see a repeat pattern of Toronto hurting themselves with mistakes, mental errors, and penalties that kill drives.
So now they have their hands full on a second and very long. It seems like this is happening on every drive for Toronto. Nassar floats it, has a man, but missed him.
He was trying to hit Raul Madan running the post route there. Ran a good post. Safety was sitting on top. Malcolm Brown on top, and there was coverage underneath, and it was difficult to put the ball right in there.
And again, hasn't made a throw with the wind, a touch throw like that in the game so far, and we saw that with Finch earlier, how we overthrew one of those plays, and maybe just a little bit extra on the ball because of the wind.
You're right on that one, and you know, after a successful 60-yard gain, I'm sure he was hoping to bring that one down a little bit and give Raul a chance to catch the football.
It's the second time we've seen Toronto have a big play and then immediately lose yardage. And now they'll try to get some more points on the board, a 36-yard attempt. Kick is up, and it is wide. Flag is down. Trying to get it out of the end zone, and they will. Down. Ow, he lost the football. It's recovered by Toronto at the 15.
Messy looking play all around there. There's a blocking from the rear call against Western in the end zone, allowing Malcolm Brown to get out. There's another flag down in the middle of the field. I'm not sure what that one is. And then at the end of the play, Malcolm Brown unable to secure the ball. And when you are receiving on a special teams, whether it's a kickoff, whether it's a punt, whether it's a field goal, the number one thing you want to make sure of is that you secure the football so your offense comes on the team. You do not want turnovers at that point.
Is it because Malcolm Brown is a defender and isn't used to carrying the ball, perhaps?
I don't think so. We practice all week. He's a return guy. He returns on field goals, and certainly he doesn't get the reps like a running back would or a receiver would. And then you see all the penalty flags that Western had on that play. So just like Toronto was doing, Western shooting himself in the foot. The field goal was wide, penalties, and now you're giving your opponent an opportunity to punch the ball in. It's first and goal from the 1 for Toronto.
So they had the ball at their own, we're at Western's 28. The field goal attempt doesn't count because of the penalties, which accumulate, and now the ball is down at the 1. This isn't Nassar. Going in, trying to get the sneak. Is it good? I don't know if it is.
No, he did not break the plane of the goal line for sure. There was no movement up front. Great job by the defensive front of Western.
To put Marcus Hobbs in, their short yardage quarterback, and you can see just a purple wall there on the goal line. Toronto gets no kind of surge. they only need a yard, and Marcus Hobbs not able to get that. Had the rushing TD on the season already. Punched it in from a short distance previously, and let's see if they try to do the same thing again. It's still Hobbs. He's got 3 in the backfield. And now Bradfield will go out. They all go out. They try the sweep to Bradfield. He cuts it up, and I don't think he got it.
No, I think he lost yards that time. So Western's defense step into the forefront. It'll be maybe a half yard or another yard loss, depending on the spot.
Try the sweep play, but there's nowhere to go. He didn't try to cut it to the outside and race any defenders to the corner. Instead, he tried to cut it back inside, and there was just nothing there.
Well, great defensive stand by the Western Mustangs, and give the defense credit after those errors on the last field goal. They're now set up again on a 3rd down and goal. You see him take the ball here, and he's able to try to cut up, and he's met right in the hole, and good defensive stand. So here we go.
Going for it on 3rd down, and Nassar is back in. Nassar's going to throw it. Oh, he's got a wide open man in the flat. He tried to dump it inside. No, it's incomplete. He had a wide open, I believe it was Gavik on the far side, wide open, and he decided not to throw it. He's going to keep it, but then panics and incomplete pass.
Well, as you said up here, you can see that he was not looking at his running back at all. He was looking inside, and it's a shame because he had the running back. Nobody picked him up. He was wide open, and rather than scoring a touchdown, Toronto actually gives it away. And despite him not seeing that open receiver, he still put the football on the receiver's shoulder pads. And when you're in the end zone, you like your receiver to make that catch.
Finch throws it out. Shaquille Johnson on the outside gives the team a little bit of breathing room. We go down to John Urban on the sideline. What do you got for us, John?
Pushed out of bounds at the 12. That's enough for a Mustang 1st down.
Finch over the middle, right into the hands of a Toronto Varsity Blue. It's Finch's 3rd interception of the day, and this one is J.J. Lamb, who just watched it fall right into his arms, and I don't know what Finch saw on that play.
Well, what he saw was Brian Marshall running down 12 yards and turning in, and if you, hopefully the replay will back me up on this, but I'm not sure Will Finch's eyes went anywhere else but the receiver, and the defenders for Toronto just closed in on his eyes and were right there, and as you said, another interception.
They haven't really made him pay for it. We'll take a look after this play. See that one again. Back to pass. This is Jugovic, who throws it. Oh! It looked like it was an interception into Jesse McNair's hands, but he just dropped it at the back end.
Well, good defense there in the secondary. Jesse McNair, the safety, in perfect position. Went up nicely. Ball goes into his hands. He's unable to secure it. Should have made the pick. He'll be the first one to tell you, and he'll be angry with himself and have to make amends on this 2nd down play.
So it's Chris Jugovic in for quarterback now for Toronto. I don't know if they've made a switch just because of lack of productivity or what. Jugovic, he's got nowhere to go. He scrambles, fires over the middle. It is caught, it looks like. It is for a touchdown. The Varsity Blues finally crack the end zone.
Well, good play by the young quarterback coming in. He stepped up nicely, threw a strike in the end zone. Initially rolls to his left, gets his feet sets up in the pocket, and then fires into the receiver who's running a post through the middle there.
Great catch by Battistella, going up to get that one.
It was a great catch. Great catch throw by Toronto, and that's what you want your offense to do when it comes on the field after a turnover. So here you have Western with the ball after a goal line stand. Western gives the ball back to them, and Toronto offense is able to score, and that's what you do on turnovers. You keep that up, you have a chance to be in the game.
So a change at quarterback and immediately pays dividends for Toronto as Jugovic comes in and throws the touchdown to Battistella.
Yeah, interesting to know why the coaches made that decision, because the previous play the quarterback did hit the receiver in the end zone, and if he had caught it, he would have thrown the touchdown. And then on the first down play, the new quarterback comes in, and if Jesse McNair had held on to it, his first pass would have been an interception. So it's difficult to say why they made the decision.
The extra point is good. And Toronto cuts into Western's lead. It's 29-8. As you're right, a good job of Toronto making Western pay. Western has a comfortable lead here, but they have played pretty sloppy football so far, Nigel.
They've made some mistakes in terms of what they've been trying to do on offense, and they've made some mistakes on defense. And it is early in the season. I don't want to, say they should be past that. It is game number 3 for Western, whereas it's game number 4 for Toronto. And now
you can take a look at the yards per game total. As Western passing yards per game, they average about 300 per game. Calgary, just far and away the best passing attack in the country. They're going to be hard to stop this year.
Right, again, it's early in the season. When you look at those stats, what it doesn't show you is that some of those teams have played 3 games, some have played 2, and that can, do certain things with numbers and averages. So you have to be careful early on in the season with those kind of stats.
Hewittson's kick is into the end zone. Shaq Johnson takes it out 2 yards deep. Johnson out to the 20, and he is slammed to the ground. So about a 22-yard return for Shaquille Johnson, and Western will start with the ball at their own 20-yard line.
Good kickoff by Toronto and good coverage by their team. Watching Shaquille come out, I liked what he did with the ball. He's trying to find the seam where it is, but when he sees that seam, he's got to show that great speed that he has and burst rather than dance into the seam.
You think that'll come with maturity? He has a chance really to make his name for himself here at Western. Here's Haru to the outside, gains about 4. So we've got
Haru on
Western
the
trying to answer back with Toronto's from Toronto's score. And a good run on first down, but it still gives them a decent amount of yardage, and you're in the area now where going for third down is very risky when you're this deep in your own end.
Well, it was a good play by linebacker Farrak Musa, who came in and got Yannick just after about a 4-yard gain.
They're going to hand it off again. Again, it's Haru. And again, he's brought down after about 4 yards. And this one's going to be close. And I think, first glance, they're going to call third down. And third down about a half a yard here. Is it too dangerous deep in your own to go for it, or are you confident enough that you're going to get it done anyway?
I'm pretty sure that Coach Marshall will be going for this third and less than a yard with his jumbo or heavy package coming in. He's had success just handing the ball off to the running back and gaining the 1, 2, 3 yards necessary. I'm hoping that's what they do. They didn't have success when they asked the quarterback to keep it, so.
But they've had really no problem getting the gain of yards with running back handoffs. So Finch under center with 4 in the backfield. They all rolled out. Finch is going to try to sneak again. Unsuccessful last time, and it looks like this time they got just enough for the first down.
Looks like they did get enough, and they got their first down, and they'll be moving the change. It wasn't the kind of surge I'm sure offensive line coach Bertoya wants to see, nor Coach Marshall. They want that offensive line to move bodies back a little further than that.
Regardless, it means Western will likely keep the ball for the majority of this end of this first half. Finch is flushed out of the pocket. He's got space. He's going to have to keep it, though, and he is brought down for a loss of about 1 or 2 on the play. There's a good job stretching the play out there by Toronto, as really there were no receivers for Finch to get it to.
No, they weren't. It's totally covered to the side that he ended up scrambling out to. Good pressure up front by Toronto. And you'll see that on the replay. Well, we don't have the replay, but.
Oh, it looks like Toronto jumps offside on this play. A free play. That's a free ball. It is caught. Is that caught by Shaquille Johnson? I don't know. What's the call going to be here? I think There was kind of a tug of war on the ground there.
Well, he certainly went up in the air, and I know that when he went up in the air, he had his hands on the ball. Whether or not he secured the catch on the ground, we're going to have to wait to see.
This is the previous play.
But he certainly went up and did a great job in trying to get his hands on the ball. Now we just don't know if he secured the catch. Well, they've indicated that he did secure it enough, so they get the first down here.
What a nice catch by Shaquille Johnson. Knowing it's a free play, Will Finch knew it was offside, so he just put it up there for his athletic receiver to try to make a play, and he did just that.
He did that, that's for sure. And here he is. He throws it up high. Now watch, Shaquille goes up high, gets his hands, so he clearly has hands on the ball, and then we can't tell from this particular thing what happened on the ground, but the one official said no, the other official overruled him. Result, Western's looking at a 1st and 10.
28-yard gain for the Mustangs. Just a jump ball for Shaquille Johnson.
With two defenders around him. And if you go back to those 2 plays ago when Will Finch got chased out of the pocket there and then ended up with a 2-yard loss, you know, at some point he's got to be able to throw the football away so he can have a 2nd and 10 instead of 2nd and 12.
Haru up the middle. Haru makes a man miss. Yannick Haru keeps going all the way to the 32.
What a great run by Yannick. He's making defenders miss. He got his initial block up front. Offensive line opened it up on the left side. But then about 8 yards down the field, that was all Yannick Haru making guys miss. And
great blocking downfield, too, by the receivers. Finch, he's going to hand it off. Matt Uren across. Matt Uren's got space. Uren inside the 20, down to the 16-yard line.
Good job up front again by Western's offensive line, allowing Matt Uren time to get around the end. And then downfield, the receivers are just trying to get in front of people so Matt can find a space to run. But James Savakis on the outside, kicking out the defender, allowing Matt Uren to go underneath and gain good yardage.
15 yards for Uren on the ground. Finch is going to throw it. He's flushed out. Is he going to race? He's going to go for the corner of the end zone. Will Finch is in there untouched for the touchdown.
Well, that'll do a lot of good for Will Finch on the scramble and made a guy miss. Had no one to throw the ball to, and this time he made the guy miss and was able to score. Again, Western showing their dominance on offense with some good athletic plays. Here he comes up, beats the defender, and is able to take it into the end zone.
McCoobie was the only one that had a chance to stop Finch. Gave him a little jab, froze him, and that was all he needed to get into the end zone and score the Mustangs' 5th touchdown of the day.
Yeah, I'm sure when McCoobie watches the game film, he'll be angry at himself in terms of his angle of pursuit, thinking, you know, I just allowed a quarterback to get outside me, and you certainly don't want to allow a quarterback that kind of running room.
It is a very athletic quarterback, but we've got ourselves a bigger Western lead again. 36-8, pardon me, Western late in the 2nd quarter of play. We'll have the conclusion of the 1st half in just a little bit on Mustangs TV.
Lone Star believes that tortillas should be the rodeo star, not the sideshow clown. Gotta be baked fresh, so they wrap around toppings like a warm hug from your mama. That's why Lone Star bakes those blankets of heaven in each restaurant with their own special oven. They ain't reheated in no microwave. So if that much goes into making their tortillas taste so good, imagine what goes into the rest of the fajita. Lone Star, the taste is in the details. Lone Star believes that tortillas should be the rodeo star, not the sideshow clown. Gotta be baked fresh, so they wrap around toppings like a warm hug from your mama. That's why Lone Star bakes those blankets of heaven in each restaurant with their own special oven. They ain't reheated in no microwave. So if that much goes into making their tortillas taste so good, imagine what goes into the rest of the fajita. Lone Star, the taste is in the details.
New improved Powerade Ion 4 replenishes fuel and 4 of the minerals lost in sweat. Powerade Ion 4 hydrates better than water. Keep sweating.
A minute 40 to go in the first half of play. Toronto will get the ball back. One last-ditch attempt to get more points on the board. They've shown glimpses of opportunity, but they've generally squandered them here today, and Western has shown dominance on the offensive end, scoring 5 times in a 36-8 lead. Medeiros, the wind against him. The coverage team has done a very good job on kickoff so far today. His 5th kickoff, and he'll boot it high, and it'll get knocked down at about the 13. Bradfield cuts it across, stops, and he's tripped up. What a nice play on special teams.
Bradfield on the return.
Western
Up by the
forces
15-yard
them to
line.
start inside their own 20.
First down, Blues.
Not
Well, there's
exactly.
only a minute 34 left. We'll see if Toronto tries to throw the ball deep while they have the wind.
John Bewald on the play, just tripped up Mr. Kevin Bradfield as he tried to cut it across. Again, you talk a lot about this today, about how the returners are not just running upfield. They're trying to dance and run across as opposed to going far. That is over the middle, and it is overthrown, intended for Boris Isakov. Overthrew him there. Decent coverage on the play there by Western.
It was decent coverage in terms of being on top, but really the receiver ran a great route down the seam, and if the ball had been on the mark, that would have been a reception because the Western defender was coming in from the outside, the safety was coming over across the top, and he was definitely in the seam open, and he would have just had to hold on to the ball if he'd been hit.
Just a little bit more air on the ball would have certainly helped. Now 2nd and 10. They don't want to punt here, but they might have to if this isn't complete, and it's not. So Western's going to get the ball back one last time here in the second quarter. Toronto took 12 seconds off the clock on that possession.
Well, 2 incomplete passes hurts clock management when you're if you're thinking of having the clock run, because it's definitely going to stop in the last 3 minutes. So
you want to score the more points here, but when you're starting from your own 15, that's not really a realistic goal. And now Western's going to get, I'd say, pretty decent field position here, with maybe a chance to put more points on the board before the end of the first half. Gazendam back to punt. Some good pressure on him. That's a low kick. Fielded. Oh, no, it's over the head. Jeez. And bobbled there by Shaquille Johnson, and he is slammed at the 26. Just a very, very poor job of fielding that kick by Western special teams, especially Shaquille Johnson back there.
No, you do not want the ball to hit the ground on a punt because they can go in any directions, and the 2 returners have to be coordinated and communicating with each other so they know what's going on.
Not only did he misplay the bounce there, but not able to get on top of it all that quick, bobbled the pickup, and all of a sudden what could have been decent field position for Western on a mediocre punt turns into 1st and 10 from their own 28. They can move the ball quickly, though. Finch, pursued by a couple defenders, gets it out to San Vito, who's tripped up around the 40-yard line. Gain of about 14 for the Mustangs, and the clock ticks to about 66 seconds left in the first half.
Well, nice play by Will Finch on the bootleg, rolling out, and Justin Sanvito getting himself open, making the catch, and having a successful 12, 14-yard first down play.
Trying to get some decent yardage here, maybe put themselves in field goal range, though they are against the wind right now. Finch back to pass, throws it out. Shaquille Johnson makes a man miss, gets it up to about the 53.
Again, the quick hitch to the wide receiver, Shaquille Johnson. Nice blocking out there. Offensive tackle racing out there to get there. Eddie Meredith doing a nice job opening up some holes there for Shaquille.
Western's going to huddle up here. The clock is running. First down more or less ensures that they can keep the ball for the rest of the half. The fake handoff, Finch, little out route. Uren stops, cuts back inside, and is pile driven into the ground at the 47.
Well, nice tackles by Toronto, and And I know Matt Uren's trying to make a big play. He had the catch. He turned upfield nicely. But then he's got to understand a bit about clock management and gets the first down.
He'll take another look on the play.
But he took it, right there. He can head out of bounds now instead of going up and getting really handled on the tackle.
Get out of bounds. Instead, he wanted the extra yardage, gained 4 extra yards, but paid the price for it physically. And Western's going to call a timeout. They've got what appears to be the wrong personnel on the field. Some confusion on the line, it appears. You can see a man running out on the field there. Kadeem Adams isn't really sure what's going on.
Well, there was a mixture of personnel in, and some of the coaches are responsible for sending in the running backs, some for the offensive linemen, and if they're unsure of whether it's they weren't sure, I think, that it was a first down, so they actually had the jumbo package in, and all of a sudden we realized the first down. They had to make more substitutions. End result of all that is management on the sidelines, not the best, but that's why you have a timeout.
You got 3 to burn.
Sort it all out.
3 to burn, haven't used any, might as well take one.
Absolutely.
Figure it out and save yourself from running a bad play or taking a penalty. Western can afford to do it here. Looking ahead to what Western's doing next week. They are back on the road. They start their season 3 of their first 4 games on the road as they head to Waterloo. Before the real test begins, they host McMaster on the 4th and Laurier on the 9th. 2 tough games in a 5-day stretch. Both at home, though. A run here. Matt Uren. Swarm doesn't go down. Eventually brought down at the 42 of Toronto. Gain of 5 on the play.
Toronto Varsity Blues playing that play close to the heart there, coming up to the line of scrimmage, recognizing what we're trying to do with Matt, bring him on the sweep, and they met him there with a host of players.
Western ready. They try to eat up as little clock as possible here. They want to get in scoring range. That may have been intercepted, and it was. That is the 4th interception of the day. Spencer Stewart getting on that pass. And Will Finch, despite Western's 36 points, has thrown 4 interceptions in the first half today.
Well, my first response is that did look like an errant pass. The wide receiver, Justin Sanvito, was running the out, and the ball went inside. I'm not sure if we got the replay on that one, but
just another curious play. It's play here. Let's take a look. It looks like it was an errant pass. Meanwhile, on the field, Jugovic is sacked.
For a loss of 5, second down.
Right, yeah, Justin running the out, and clearly Will threw it inside, and Toronto defender actually had it thrown right to him, and that's got to be cleared up. You're able to get away with it when you got 36-8, but you're playing a different kind of game if you're playing against a team's whose offense is scoring against you, and 4 picks can hurt you.
These kinds of mistakes against a team like McMaster would definitely hurt a lot more than what they are today. Jugovic back to pass, more pressure on him. They do the backside screen, and there's certainly, yeah, it looked like there was contact there.
On the play.
Well, there definitely was contact. He ran into him, but he had great coverage. It was a good play by Huggins coming over, and it's unfortunate that he had contact with the running back, as the running back they're trying to run a screen to the short side of the field here.
There could be a couple penalties on the play. I think there's definitely pass interference on Preston Huggins. He got in the way of that one. I'm not sure if they're calling some kind of roughing the passer penalty here too. The reality is there's 1.5 seconds left in the first half, and whatever play comes after this will be the last one of the half, so it'll be probably just a deep shot for Toronto.
Well, they were looking at a 2nd and 15, and with the penalties, they're going to get great field position for a one-shot throw. And now they're moving the ball up to where? The 44-yard line. That gives the quarterback and Toronto's offense a great opportunity just to see if something can happen with 1 second to go.
Well, and the one thing you can't end on a penalty, so if you put one up deep, maybe get a pass interference call, get another 15 yards closer. See, Western will put some pressure on them. Now they're just going to run a simple play. And Battistella gets to the 53, but that's it for the first half. And the Western Mustangs, they may be making some mistakes, but they really haven't paid for them. And Western will head to the locker room at homecoming Saturday, up 36-8 on the Toronto Varsity Blues, Nigel.
Yeah, first half, not certainly the way that Toronto wanted it to go. And Western feeling really good about the score. Offensively, they got to certainly clear up what's going on with the interceptions.
We now go down to the sidelines. John Urban.
Thank you very much, guys. Here with the head coach, Greg Marshall. 115 wins in your CIS career and counting. But I got to ask you this question. Is the coaching staff ever getting nervous when coming into a homecoming game?
Well, you know what? You get nervous at every game, especially homecoming. There's the added excitement of playing in front of, a big crowd and, all your friends and teammates and kids you coach. So it's always exciting, and that puts a little bit of pressure on us. But so far, so good today.
A healthy 28-point lead heading into halftime, but Will Finch, an uncharacteristic 4 interceptions. Should we expect any adjustments on the offensive side heading into the second half?
Okay.
No, we've got to take care of the football. A couple of throws, I'm sure Will, wish he had back and force him a little bit. But, he's made some good throws too. So, we got to settle down a little bit in the second half. We're doing some good things. We're tiring them out, but we got to protect the football better.
Coach, best of luck in the second half of play.
Thank you.
Back to you guys in the booth.
Thank you, John. So Western takes a big lead into the locker room, 36-8. We will be back with second half on Mustangs TV.
1989 Mustangs football team.
It's game day. Today, tomorrow, every day. And Game Face is our only face. We're not normal. Normal doesn't run everywhere or take a stopwatch to everything. Normal doesn't dedicate itself to never letting its customers down. Not a single one. Never, ever, ever. Normal doesn't live to beat the rush. Obsessed about out-the-door times? That's not normal. Counting pepperoni in your sleep? Not normal. Normal is average. Normal is ordinary. Normal is what people expect. Normal doesn't have pizza sauce flowing through its veins. The other guy is normal. That's why no one delivers like we do.
After the final ball has flown, and the final catch made, and the last screaming fan has left the stadium, the ball is passed from one team member to the next so the players can sign their names. But of all the names, there is one on that ball that is perhaps the most important. That name is Wilson. Good luck this season.
Time. It lets us plan to dream, plan to learn, plan to succeed, plan to invest, plan to enjoy, plan to help, plan to leave to others. The Plan by Investors Group, helping you provide for the people you care about, now and over time.
Herb Ballantyne was only 17 when he enrolled in Western. He hadn't really thought about playing football for the Mustangs, even though he had been a very successful quarterback at London South Collegiate Institute, where they won the 1940 Senior Football Championship. In 1942, Herb was convinced to play for the Mustangs, and the rest, they say, is history. Herb had an outstanding 4 years at Western while earning his honors in Business and Administration degree and received the coveted Purple Blanket Award for his outstanding athletic career. It was summed up at the end of his graduating year when he won the G. Howard Fergus Award. This award is given annually to the senior male student who is considered to have achieved an outstanding attainment in athletics, scholarship, and college life during his undergrad career. In addition to his football accomplishments, Herb was on the hockey team, the basketball team, and the track and field team. He was elected to the Honor Society, was involved with the Student Administration Assembly and the Student Building Fund campaign, and was elected president of Western's Student Council. In 1946, Herb was accepted into the master's program at Western, and once again, he would be back at the controls as quarterback of the Mustangs offense. Ballantyne's mastery of the offense with his play-action fakes, his ability to escape the pocket, and his pinpoint passing led the Mustangs to the first Yates Cup awarded post-World War II. Herb was selected by the Canadian press as the All-Star quarterback in 1946. He helped establish Western as the force in the OUA for years to come. After his playing days concluded, Herb was named a member of Coach Metris' staff in 1947 and 48. He held the position until embarking on a career with London Life, which saw his rise to corporate secretary of the company. A former president of the Western Alumni Association, Herb was inducted into the W Club Hall of Fame in 1988. Herb maintained a strong, vibrant relationship with Western and the Mustang football program. Herb Ballantyne, a Mustang legend.
Historically, people have come to Western for a host of reasons. But in the end, it's always about becoming more. Our students, faculty, staff, and alumni have been in a perpetual state of transformation and growth since the founding of our school in 1878.
I came to Western to be challenged.
To become a force for change.
To discover new things.
I wanted to make business a real part of society.
I wanted to be a professional football player.
I was looking forward to being a top-level neuroscientist studying music with access to facilities that are available here and not anywhere else in the world.
I wanted to be one of the few graduates of a dual degree program with engineering and law.
I wanted to be both a physician as well as a researcher.
I wanted to build a group of students and researchers that would really be the leaders of tomorrow.
I wanted to be an engineer, but I wanted to be a terrific engineer.
I came to learn. I came to have some fun. I came to make myself a better person.
I wanted to be someone who really makes the most of life.
Our alumni who have done extraordinary things in Canada and throughout the world. Our brilliant researchers and faculty. And finally, our diverse and dynamic student body have all been shaped by the Western experience.
It's about coming to a place where you know you're going to learn and grow and really have a transformative experience and so much fun in the process.
I was just a little guy from Welland, Ontario. And when I got there, I found something that, I was the same as everybody else. And, I could learn from everybody else. And I could be part of a community that actually looked after everybody else. I felt that's what Western was all about.
One of the most fulfilling parts of my job is seeing the students coming in as raw students, as 18, a little afraid, a little nervous, and growing to be outstanding men and women and leaders in our community.
Western provided a really inclusive and supportive environment. The professors really wanted you to be the best that you could be.
Coming out with 2 degrees in 6 years is extraordinary.
I actually get to interact and work with patients from the hospital. The close collaboration between hospitals and the university at Western are really world-class.
Western University and the Rotman Institute in particular is truly extraordinary because it encourages and fosters collaborative relationships.
In the future, I'm really looking forward to where we can recruit even more top researchers, bringing them together and building bridges across the faculties. Western will become a world leader in neuroscience.
We want to bring these people who have already led space missions to other planets to help actually not just Western, but Canada to lead the next efforts in space.
What we do at Western is really build the leaders of tomorrow. We give them the tools, the skills, and the knowledge to do extraordinary things.
Our past successes, propelled by alumni gifts and support, show that Western can achieve the extraordinary. We must rise to the occasion. Western needs your support.
Western is inherently ambitious, and we know we have the potential to become one of the world's best universities.
We are a great university, but we want to become even better. We want to become globally recognized for all our activities.
Western needs to keep its competitive advantage, and that means driving our ambitions, driving our expectations, and all the help that we can get from our partners and our friends and our alumni will help us reach our ambitions of being one of the world's best universities.
So for me, it's pure and simple. We want to continue achieving greatness for Western. We have the potential to become one of the great universities of the world. That's why we're calling our campaign Be Extraordinary. It's time for all of us to get involved in the future of our university. Faculty, staff, students, and especially our alumni. So together, let's be extraordinary.
Am I extraordinary?
Extraordinary. Extraordinary.
Am I extraordinary?
Well, now that you mention it,
We all know how this thing ends. Now let's talk about what got me here. Maybe it was when I made my post move. Or maybe it was at the line of scrimmage when I fought my way free. Or maybe it was before the play even started. That's when I told myself, when the ball is in the air, nobody brings it down but me.
welcome back to homecoming Saturday at Western University. At TD Stadium, the Western Mustangs have a 36-8 lead over the Toronto Varsity Blues. Will Finch, 20 of 30 in the first half, but has thrown 4 interceptions, and maybe against a team like Toronto, that's not going to hurt too much. But when you're playing better teams in the OUA, they can't afford that many mistakes, Nigel.
Not at all, and at the end of the half, you heard Coach Marshall address that in the interview, and he stated, you know, Will's done some things really well, and then he's got to take care of the ball in other situations. And Coach Marshall and Will Finch himself, they'll be the we got to take care of the football. And as you said, against a stronger opponent, those 4 picks are really going to hurt you.
There's the first.
Yeah, he threw that one into almost double, triple coverage. They're in a zone defense, and really struggled with that.
This is a good run by Devontae Brown. Toronto had glimpses of good play on offense, but for the most part, it was plays like this for Western, like Adam Sinclair, one of the better runs.
Yeah, it was Adam Sinclair picking his way through and setting up Western in a good position for score. Here he is throwing the touchdown strike to Brian Marshall, and I don't know if people noticed after that play, Brian scored a touchdown, and then he's in the end zone, and he took a shot from the Varsity Blues, and Coach Marshall, and rightfully so, asked the officials to take a look at that. You don't hit a guy in the end zone after he scored a touchdown.
The big gain for Toronto. They had a couple big plays. That was one of them. But Western had more of the big plays. Like this one here, Shaquille Johnson, you're right. He can make men miss. He does do a lot of dancing, but he has the ability to dodge tackles.
Right, and again, against lesser opponents, and I hate to use that term, but when you're against a stronger defense and you're dancing around a bit, they'll have 3 or 4 guys coming down on you pretty fast, and he'll have to adjust his game against the more difficult opponent.
Here's the touchdown pass, or no, that's what should have been the interception from McNair. The next play, they threw a touchdown pass. And that was
the play where he bootlegged out, and I was hoping he was going to throw it away and not take the loss. And then next play, he has a great run, fakes out the linebacker with a little in move, and then gets himself into the end zone.
That was the last score of the first half, which made the score 36-8 for Western. And that's where we stand at the moment. Western will be kicking off to start the second half. Zach Medeiros will be kicking it away. The second half has been pretty good for Western this year, as well as the first. They've given up no points in the fourth quarter. They've given up 9 in the third quarter. They give up 9 to Queens. And now,
well, as you said, it's the second half about to start, and it's just great to be sitting here at homecoming and looking out. And even though the student side, which is very typical, especially in a score like this, is vacated it somewhat, it's just a fantastic atmosphere to be involved with CIS football. And homecoming at Western and homecoming at all the CIS schools is a special event, and it really is highlighted here at Western Ontario.
Medeiros gives it a good boot, and it's caught in the end zone. They'll bring it out. That's Boris Isakov, and he goes nowhere. He's down at the 10-yard line.
Well, an interesting decision by Toronto and coaching staff to allow their kickoff returner to catch the ball at least 20 yards deep in the end zone. And, he had about a 25-yard return, but he's still only out to the 11-yard line because the ball went so deep in the end zone. So I'm not sure the advantage of giving your offense 1st and 10 from the 11, or give up a single and have much better field position.
Take it out at the 35. In the end, they'll be starting deep in their own end here. And a place they found themselves a lot today. And now we'll see what Toronto can do. See what they do at quarterback, too. We saw Chris Jugovic come in at the end of that first half. He threw a touchdown pass, but also faced a lot of pressure through what should have been an interception. And now we've got, it's 2 quarterbacks that have both played a decent amount this year. Nassar's the starter. He's coming into this game, 91 attempts. Jukovic had thrown 26 attempts. But they split time last year and they split time this year. They're taking their time getting ready for this one. There's Jukovic on the season. Barely over 50% completion rating. That's not the best. But it is Jukovic out to play. He will throw it. Battistella across the 20 down to the 22.
Well, good first down play for Toronto, moving the ball down near the first-yard marker. It's either a first down or a measurement.
Pass complete.
And, well, I perhaps need to get my eyes checked a bit more. It looks like it's about half a yard short.
Yeah. Just short. You can see this Jukovic at the end of that play gets absolutely pancaked by Phil DeJour.
Yeah, second time he's done that, and it looks great. I'm sure coaches would like to see him a step sooner before the guy gets rid of the football.
Good run here by Gavick.
Good hard run up the middle. He met a Western tackler right in the hole and actually drove him back and was successful in getting the first down.
So Gavick will pick up the first down, and
the ball carrier.
Darryl Watt slow to get up here. Still on the ground, actually.
Injured player on the field.
Don't want to see Darryl Watt in pain because he's one of the better ends here in the Ontario League.
Outstanding young man, a great football player, and as you said, you don't want to see anyone laying on the field with a bit of an injury.
You can see Darryl Watt on the season, 2 sacks, 4 total tackles. And I mean, he's one of the stronger players on this defensive line. Last season, he had 21 total tackles, 2 sacks, and 5 tackles for loss. And you can see he's still down around the OUA. Other teams playing homecoming games. McMaster is visiting York for York's homecoming and is kind of spoiling the party. They're up 44-2 midway through the third. Perhaps a shocking score in Guelph. This is just a testament to Queens this year. But on Guelph's homecoming, they are up 46-0 on Queens in the third quarter. And in the Panda game in Ottawa, Carleton is the home team, and they're up 21-18 on the GGs. That one's late in the third. A close game there between the two Ottawa teams.
I think when I looked at all the scores at halftime, that was really the only close game that was going on. And credit to Carleton and their university and their coaching staff. You know, they started up last year and had a building year, and you know, they've obviously made inroads and put together a good team. So a credit to them for sure.
Handoff to Gavick. He'll just get a couple on that play. Last week, Carleton gave McMaster really all they could handle. They were down 6. Late in that game, had a chance deep in McMaster territory to maybe take the lead through an interception. Max scores a couple late ones. We go down to John Urban now for the latest on Darryl Watt.
Darryl, as you've seen, was just limping off the field there. He refused to sit down on the bench, though, so that is a good sign for things to come. I know the score is 36-8, but, hey, defense still wins championships, so they're going to need him in the game as soon as possible.
Big hit. Wow.
Nice little throw in the flats, but Calvin Johnson coming up puts a big lick on. And again, when you're in the coach's room watching game film, they'll say, you know, nice hit, Calvin, but, you know, get your arms around, wrap him up, and take care of the tackle.
Take another look at that one. You can see it's a nice catch. One hand gets out there, but look who's ready to lay the boom, Calvin Johnson. But he stayed up. A big hit, and then the Mustangs collapsed. Good job holding on, staying on his feet too, ready for the big hit. Now it's 3rd and 2, and Toronto will punt. That one is fumbled, it's loose. The punt is muffed, and it's recovered by Sanvito at the 42. Lucky break for Western to get back on top of that one.
Well, Yannick had a tough time handling that punt. Nose turned over and came right down to him, and he must have just taken his eyes off it, allowed it to hit into his chest, and it bounced out.
Ball was up for grabs. That one, we saw an earlier one, didn't hit a Western one. That one was definitely a live ball. But Western gets back on it. And Will Finch will start the second half, handing the ball off to Yannick Carew, who will perhaps redeem himself a little bit, getting up to the 49-yard line.
Nice little run to the outside, gains 5-6 yards, and now Western's looking at a 2nd and 4.
Take another look at that one. Yannick Carew just gets to the outside, manages to pick up a few extra yards. Good job, interior of the Mustangs. Finch on second down will hand it off. It's Carew again, and Carew with another good gain out across midfield.
Well, again, nice play by the offense, and a great play by Justin Sanvito, the wide receiver. He comes down in motion. And if you see on the replay and you watch him come down, he takes care of the linebacker. It allows the running back to get outside for a great gain, first down.
Finch, play action, gets it to your end, out in the flats, but a good job swarming the play. That one's Jaden McBride there to make the play. Yannick Carew on the season. He's good in the backfield. You can see 18 rushes, 94 yards is coming into today. A good compliment. He's not the #1 back, but he gets touches and he makes good with them. Now Finch on second down. Fakes, holds, has all kinds of time. Fires, it's going to be a jump ball. Uren not able to make the play because it was broken up nicely by Tarek DeFore.
Third down.
You watch the play and I watched it unfold. The route by a number of receivers was excellent. Will Finch had flat wide open. He had Brian Marshall running post through the middle wide open. The only guy that was covered was Matt Uren, and that's where the ball went. So not sure what Will Finch saw down there. Up here, easy to play the game. Easy to watch it unfold. Down there is a different story.
In the middle of the field at the end of the replay, you can see Brian Marshall with his hands up saying, "Why didn't I get the ball?" He was wide open, and now for the first time today, Western's going to punt the ball.
There you are. You're in the third quarter, the first time you punt. You know that, oh dear.
And we've got a timed count violation on the Mustangs. We'll back them up 5 yards. Well, for the most part.
That's probably a good play.
Yeah.
Because then perhaps they'll get the ball now down to around the 10 or 15 instead of into the end zone and forcing Toronto to have a very difficult field position to move the ball out of.
So Madero's on the season. For the first time, he's punting. He averages about 31 yards per punt, and that one is a big one. Fielded at the 4 by Kevin Bradfield. Bradfield out to the 10, tripped up at the 14-yard line.
Bradfield on
good coverage downfield by the Mustangs.
First down Blues.
Jean-Gabriel Poulin with the tackle on special teams.
That's a great special teams play by Poulin, coming down one-on-one in the open field and able to bring down the returner. Shows you his athletic ability.
And for Western, they're pinning Toronto deep in their end again. At this point, that's all you need to do. You got a comfortable lead. Play with your defense on the field. You don't need to do anything crazy on offense. Take a conservative play. They don't go for it on 3rd and 10. They punt it away, and now Toronto's back in their own end. And Chris Jugovic is back at quarterback still. Over the middle, a good catch and a good tackle by Jesse McNair.
The receiver comes down in the middle and just curls up and is able to get his 8 yards. Quarterback found him on his second read. Safety comes up and tackles the ball.
Boris Isakov and Kevin Bradfield and on the receiving end. Isakov on the season coming into today, 13 catches for 131 yards. Only had 1 touch last week against York. But a big part of their offensive attack, especially since their #1 receiver, Levi Noel, has been out for now the 2nd straight week. Jugovic gets the snap, but a whistle blows and a flag flies.
Another time count violation.
This
Both teams are struggling here.
Didn't see any of those. Didn't see any of those in the first half, yet here 2 and 3 plays. It's perhaps a little bit lazy to start the second half. The clocks are in easy position for the people to see.
Well, the main clock is, but I don't know about you. I'm struggling with the 20-second clock because the way the sun glares on it, it's easy to see that, but the 20-second clock is tougher to pick up.
So that means it's 2nd and 8 for the Varsity Blues. Jugovic back to pass. He's under pressure, and he's going to go down at the 10.
Well, good job by those Western's front getting in there and putting pressure on the quarterback, and he initially seemed to have time to throw the ball, could not find an open receiver, and then was dropped for the loss. So great stand by Western's defense here.
See the back end of this one. Watch Rory Canup, number 95, come around the left side, fights through and eventually collapses on him for the sack. Third sack of the day for the Mustangs. And of course, Toronto to punt from just inside their own end zone, and for Aaron Gazendam, it's going to be a little bit against the wind.
Be interesting to see what decision they make here.
Just
Punt it,
concede. Maybe concede the 2 points. And they're going to concede. Waste some time. Waste a little bit more time. Run around a little bit, and then go out the back of the end zone. 2 points for Western. So that makes it 38-8. Are you a fan of that play?
I think they didn't have any choice in that, the way the wind is, and what it does is it forces the Western offense to start up deeper in their own end rather than punt the ball, and Western probably would have had a first down in Toronto's territory. So I don't know if I'm a fan of the decision. It's the right decision to make.
Take a look at the conference standings. And McMaster, Western, Windsor, all undefeated so far, and it looks like that will continue today as all three of those teams are up big in their respective games. Western will face Waterloo, who has struggled this year, and you see an asterisk beside Queens. They did have a win on the season, but was vacated because of an ineligible player. And they could fall to 0-4 for the team that went to the Yates Cup last year. A disappointing start to their season, Nigel.
Yeah, it's been a tough start for Queens, and one that they haven't been used to over the past number of years, as their outstanding university and outstanding football program. And I'm sure Pat Sheehan is not sleeping too well these days, trying to get his troops in order.
Well, we've got 9:12 on the clock here. Western is up 38-8. And for Western, it's going pretty well for them. At some point, do you think Western will maybe put in their second stringers, or do you think they'll keep playing the main guys?
Probably at least into the fourth quarter, I hope. I mean, those guys work hard. They deserve the time on the field. You don't just pull them out because of the score. And, you know, they train all year to play football, and they deserve the right to play.
Finch, the out to Shaquille Johnson, and he goes nowhere. And he's got to make sure he protects that ball. He tends to have it hanging out there, not against his body, but just tucked in his arm.
Right. Toronto defense that play really well. I think Shaquille took it too far back inside initially, and Toronto was able to get all around him. He had nowhere to go.
Johnson's been limited for the most part today. Finch back to pass. He's touched as he throws, and Marshall was not hit. It was well over his head, and we've got a flag down on the field. It's holding on Western, and they're going to decline that. And what looks like the second straight 2 and out for Western to start this third quarter.
Well, it seemed that he had the protection initially, and Brian Marshall was wide open coming across the middle. And as you said, he went to throw the ball and got hit as he's releasing the football and threw it off its trajectory. But again, not a great start there.
So Western's going to punt for the second time here to start this third quarter. Zach Medeiros, who must have been getting bored in the first half, is busy here to start the third quarter. Longest punt this year, 44 yards. He could have some distance on this one, though, as he's kicking with the wind at his back, though it seems to maybe have died down a bit right now. The flags at the top of the goalpost aren't really doing much. That snap is in his feet, and he manages to get off a pretty good punt, all things considered. That's going to bounce all the way down and out of bounds at the 4-yard line. What looked like perhaps a disastrous play with Medeiros dropping the snap, gets it off, and coffin corners the Toronto offense.
Well, good for that young man. He was in a bit of a panic mode. He lost sight of the football. It's in his feet. He's looking up, seeing the on-rushers coming from Toronto. but he successfully got the punt away, and it turned out great for him. So good for him.
You can see once the
bounce, yes.
Once the returner missed it, there was no chance for him to recover it. Ashton Rochester, he was thrown off too probably by the impromptu kick.
I just do not understand the logic of putting one person back on a punt return when you have a field as wide as we do in the CIS in Canadian football.
And
it's just too much to cover.
And is that going to be a safety as Gavik appears to be brought down in the end zone?
I think his forward progress was to the 1, and so therefore he got thrown back in. The one official marked him as terms of his forward progress. So fortunately for Toronto, or unfortunately, now our 2nd and 12 from the 1.
Well, we just saw them concede 2 points in the end zone. We might be looking at a similar circumstance coming up if they're not able to get some yardage here. 2nd down and 12. Ugovic back to pass, throws it under the upright, and it's caught, and a late hit came in right on the head. But no call, everyone gets up, they move along with life, and it's 3rd down from the 11. A little bit more breathing room for Toronto.
That was good coverage by Malcolm Brown. He was all over the receiver. The quarterback threw a great pass to a guy that was essentially covered. He put it right in there. They were successful with getting the 8-yard gain, and then not only was the coverage there by Malcolm Brown, but then Jesse McNair came in and sort of took both of them down with a hit. So, again, Western defense playing rather well.
I think this Western defense gets overshadowed by the offense. The offense puts up a lot of numbers, but this defense has been steady this year and last year, and I think one of the main reasons why they're going to be in contention perhaps for a national title this season.
Well, you absolutely are going to need both sides of the ball playing well if you're going to be successful, and Coach Paul Gleason and his fellow coaches on defense are certainly working hard to that end.
2nd straight possession for Toronto ends with Aaron Gazendam running around in the end zone and conceding a safety, which makes it 40-8 for the Mustangs. So,
there you go. The Western defense is doing all the scoring, and it's going up by 2, so who knows what the final is going to be today if Western keeps this up.
Special teams and defense has been the key here in the 3rd quarter for Western. They've gone 2 and out twice on offense. So you can see the last play. Well covered, and then a big hit, like you said, McNair at the end. Making sure he's down. Nice throw by Ugovic right underneath the bar. That's intimidating to throw it from the end zone like that. Finch over the middle. Wide open, Marshall.
Well, they've been trying to hit Brian Marshall on that route many different times today. And this time Will Finch has got great protection. Finds Brian across the middle, and Will throws the strike, which he is really capable of throwing.
John Urban down on the sideline has an update for us, John.
Thank you very much, Christian. I overheard you and Nigel talking about potentially seeing some of the secondary offense, if you will, in this game. One name that sticks out in that contention or category, if you will, would be Stevenson. First game of the season. And we know that Will Finch is intercepted 4 times already in this contest. Every time he's been intercepted, Stevenson Bowden goes over to one of these equipment bags and picks up a pigskin. Who knows? We might see him in the 4th. Guys?
Well, on that play, Finch got rocked at the end. The flag is down in the area of offensive holding, and it will be enforced, so it'll be a 10-yard penalty for Western. They'll have to redo that 1st down, or will they accept that penalty? Because it looked like it was a loss of yards for Western.
Holding called against the Mustangs.
It looks like they're going to take the penalty yardage.
Yeah, that's an interesting call by the Toronto coaches. They could have been looking at 2nd and 12, or give Western 1st down back there. I'm not sure I agree with the call, but I'm doing color and they're coaching, so let them coach.
Yep. It's easy to be a coach from afar, that's for sure. But here they are, 1st and 20. We'll see if the decision pays off. Finch back to pass. Scrambles out. He's going to take it himself. Makes one man miss and gets down to the 49.
Well, he got back the initial
picks up 11
yards from the penalty. It was good. He's scrambling. He's got to hopefully get his receivers to get open so he can deliver the ball downfield, which is the intention of the play. But a good scramble by Will. And now they're looking at 2nd and 9, 2nd and 10.
They call it a 52. So it'll be 2nd and officially 9 yards for Western. Under 5.5 to go here in the 3rd quarter. Western trying to put some more points up on the board. Finch airs it out to Sinclair on the sidelines, and Sinclair is brought down.
Pass complete to
down to the 42 after a gain of about 16.
Nice little play action bootleg by Will Finch and hits Adam Sinclair.
Western hurry up offense as they don't change their style of play despite the score. They're going to still play it the same way. Finch hands it off. Haru up the middle, and it's to the 33 after a gain of about 9. Anna Caru's doing a good job running the ball, getting chunks about 6 to 8 yards every time he touches it.
Yeah, very reliable running back, strong running back. He runs downhill. It's difficult to bring him down, and he always delivers a blow to the opponent who's trying to get him down.
Got a man down on the field for Western. It's Kadeem Adams, the right tackle. OUA first-team All-Star last season. Big part of this very strong offensive line that they bring back from last year.
He's an outstanding offensive lineman, and as we said earlier in the first half, and it doesn't matter who's down on the field, you don't want to see an injury, and everyone hopes he's able to get up and be back in the game, especially Coach Bertoya. Offensive line coach will be keeping a keen eye on that one.
Adams appears to be in all right condition. He's jogging slowly off the field. Is favoring what it looks like his left arm there, left shoulder area. Not happy. He wants to keep playing. But as we look at the field, it's 2nd and about 2 for Western from the 33. Finch with 4 in the backfield. They spread out. Now it's just 2. Hands it off. Haru again. Backflips over a defender, gets down to the 30, and it's going to be enough for a first down. It kind of just rolls over top of the defender.
He did. He hit the hole, and all of a sudden there was a Toronto guy on the ground, and his feet caught, and he just flipped over him.
But he got enough yards, maybe some style points, and now Western gets another first down as they're putting together their first good drive of this third quarter. Haru again. Haru breaks free, and he's down to the 17. As he just made arm tackles miss there.
Yeah, great running by Yannick. Nice job by the offensive line, initially opening up the hole, allowing him to get downfield. Here you see it here on the replay. And Will Finch makes the read and gives it to him. He comes in behind the block of Savakis and gets up inside, and then downfield receivers are trying to open up more.
3 guys on the Toronto defense, though, just trying to wrap him up with the arms. Didn't get it. Finch to the end zone. Touchdown. Finch is in there. His 2nd rushing touchdown of the day.
Great call on the zone read there by Will. Keeps it again in the hands of the running back, and then pulls it out and sees the lane for himself to go straight up the gut and get the touchdown. And good-looking run offense that time all the way down the field. And Will Finch capping it off here. Here you see him, he gets the snap, hands it in with Garrett Sanvito, and then pulls it out and takes it straight up. So nice zone read scheme there.
Once he made the mesh and held on to it, there's no stopping him going to the end zone. 17-yard rushing TD. Madero's extra point is good. It is 47-8. The Mustangs on top here. It is 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. Western rolling on homecoming Saturday. The crowd may be leaving, but spirit is still here as Western looks to be going to 3-0 on the season. We'll be back.
My Western experience so far has been phenomenal.
My experience at Western this far has been unforgettable.
Astounding.
Unique.
Very memorable.
And it kind of just picks you up in week 1 and says, get out here, don't be afraid to be yourself.
Western really lives up to the #1 student experience.
You really get the sense that you are part of something here.
What I love about this place is that everybody here loves it. Everyone takes pride in being a Western Mustang.
Yes, you come to university to learn and study, but as well you're here for the other things that the university offers.
Being part of clubs, being part of teams.
Western is this great campus, and there are so many opportunities.
Everything is there for you. When you see the juggling club, you see the dancing clubs, you just see everything you could possibly want.
I want to experience something new, and I want to try things that I've never tried before.
To meet new people, meet great professors.
Professors here are awesome. They tend to be interested in what you are interested in.
And they really try hard to make you feel welcome.
The importance of having this student experience is really that it's something that's going to last you for the rest of your life.
When I think of Western, everything is possible.
I want everybody to have, the same great experience that I've had here.
And when I stepped on Western campus, it just felt right.
Back at TD Stadium as the Western Mustangs prepare to kick off here. About 4 minutes left in the third quarter of play. The Mustangs comfortably ahead 47-8. Updating the game in Ottawa, Carleton early in the fourth has a 24-21 lead over Ottawa. This would be a huge win for that program if they were able to hold on.
Huge win in the city of Ottawa. Gets that rivalry back at where it should be. And again, congrats to Carleton University for doing all what they're doing.
That kick is going to go over the head of the returner, Devontae Smith, and it'll just be another point for the Mustangs. They're just tacking on one here, two there, and it's 48-8 now.
Right now, you want to make sure guys keep playing hard. You don't want to see any injuries. I noticed on the last time out, the Durawad was running up and down the sideline trying to loosen up his leg, and I see him on the bike on the sidelines trying to generate some blood flow to get his legs back. And again, I'll remind people it's a hot day, and it's tough conditions.
Stevenson Bone, backup quarterback John Urban mentioned him just minutes ago. He was on the sideline throwing the ball around. Maybe he could get some reps coming up soon. That ball is high, and it is down. They're going to call incomplete pass. Calvin Johnson was more than ready for that play.
Calvin Johnson had a great hit again, and this time on his hit alone jarred the ball loose and caught the defender. I'm going to say what I said earlier. Great hit. He's got to wrap up, though. You want to see him get his arms around there, even though it was a great hit, etc. You still want him improving and becoming better. That's a great play by Calvin Johnson.
Kevin Bradfield, the man who took that hit, getting up slowly. That's what you call a hospital ball there, as he threw that one right into the target. And you can see here on the replay, just flips it out, threw it way too high for him, and Johnson levels him, and you could see Bradfield grabs for his lower back because that's where he took that one. Just a high throw, that's going to leave your receiver in a very vulnerable position.
And it certainly did.
So now Toronto, another second and long. Jugovic still in at quarterback. Goes back to pass, airs it out deep. There's no one there. Well covered, overthrown.
Down the middle is incomplete.
And Jugovic struggling. He had one touchdown pass, but other than that, it's been a major struggle for the third-year quarterback.
Well, great coverage again by Calvin Johnson with his receiver all the way down the field, and Jesse Manair was also sitting on top waiting as well. So another good couple of plays by the Western defense.
And now the busiest man on the field today has been Aaron Gazendam, who's going to punt again for Toronto. But this time he actually gets to kick it as opposed to conceding a safety, which he has in his last two times getting the ball. Back to punt. It's a bit of a short one. Whistle's blown, though. Whistle's blown, and what's going on here?
Well, sometimes the officials, in terms of trying to make sure nobody gets hurt, and when it's that windy, they've told both teams that if it's a short punt into the wind, we might blow the whistle. We'll blow the play dead to avoid injury. And I think that was an example of that. I'm not convinced it was held up by the wind. I think it was just a short punt. But nevertheless, they're trying to protect the players. And
it's a judgment call by the refs to call that one. Now, San Vito caught it short and had space, but the idea is he's running fast, trying to catch up to that ball, and you've got a lot of players coming right at him. You're trying to avoid those high-impact collisions. These concussions are becoming a big deal here, and a big part of the public consciousness when it comes to football. San Vito gets the handoff. Gets about 7 on the first down carry.
Good run by Garrett, hitting off the right side. Almost got completely outside, but looked like number 32 for Toronto there was able to move over and make the tackle.
There's Justin San Vito's numbers on the season. He doesn't get a lot of touches, but he gets big gains when he gets the ball. Averages 19 yards per catch. His brother Garrett gets the ball, trying to string it outside, strings it, but doesn't get anywhere. In fact, may have lost a yard.
Oh, he did. There was a bit of a problem with the exchange. It looked like someone along the offensive line had initial problems early on because someone was in the backfield right away and forced Garrett to bump outside. And once that happened, the Varsity Blues just swarmed to the outside and really nullified that play.
So for the third time in the quarter, Zach Medeiros. Yeah, you can see Meredith had his hands full in that play.
Well, it was really the fullback, Savakis, who really got handled by number 67, the end there for Toronto.
Medeiros gets the punt away. It's a short one. Trying to pin him out of bounds. Oh, it takes a funny hop. And it looks like yet another single, and it will be. But look out in the middle of the field, there's some John.
Goes through the back of the end zone.
So, again, not catching it in the air and takes a funny hop. Football does that, right? You can never predict a football bounce.
Last time when you got a bounce that was favorable, this time you got a bounce that he didn't want to have happen as he was trying to pin Toronto in the end. So, as you said, sometimes the bounce goes, sometimes it doesn't.
And that's another point for Western. 49-8 now the score with just 1:41 to go. Here in the third quarter, Toronto, Chris Jugovic still in the game. Looks like Toronto's going to go with him at the pivot for the rest of the affair today. Back to pass. Jugovic has time and is way too high. Going for Isaacov, but that was many yards too high.
Well, he certainly was under pressure there, and was forced to throw the ball, and someone was in his face, and it was too high, and now they're faced with a 2nd and 10.
He hasn't looked comfortable in there really all day that he's been in there. But they want to see what they've got. They're two quarterbacks. I don't know if Nassar's hurt. Jugovic, just over a minute to go. Low snap, rolls out. Fires to the sideline. He's got a wide open Kanopoulos. And Kanopoulos is going to get a first down at the 54.
Well, there's a bit of a breakdown in the coverage scheme there on the wide side of the field.
Woodman on the coverage.
Woodman playing rather deep on the coverage, giving them a successful first down play. And the quarterback, again, took a big hit right after he delivered the ball. So Western's defensive line were in on him quickly, but a bit of soft coverage there by the field corner, Josh Woodman.
Probably time for one or two more plays here in the third quarter. Jugovic, as they're throwing it a lot now. Jugovic is down.
Well, they brought the linebacker Poulan on an outside blitz, and he came in, made the tackle, and the quarterback didn't have a chance.
You can see they left him pretty much untouched. The running back leaking out did not get a hand on Poulan, and Poulan makes him pay. Drops him in the backfield for a loss of 9. And how about this, a 2nd and 19 for Toronto, and they've had a whole lot of those today. Last play of the third quarter. Jugovic rolls out, fires over. That is well underthrown. Tries to get to the sideline. Kanopoulos was covered there, and it was underthrown. And that's the end of the third quarter. Mustangs lead 49-8. We've got Western dominating here today. And we will head to break now as Western dominating here on Homecoming Saturday. They lead big on Toronto.
Build anything with the redesigned 2014 Toyota Tundra. Tough enough for any project.
Law has just always been a passion of mine. It's something I've known I've wanted to do since I was a little kid. There was never anything that was going to stop me from coming to law school and from becoming a lawyer. My dad was always my #1 support. Like all good parents, he wanted the things for his kids that he could never have. Being a student that has always demonstrated financial need, it's been difficult to feel like there's been somebody to help you. And for the first time when I received this money, it felt like somebody had given me a break. I don't know if there are words that could convey how grateful and how impactful their donation was and what it's done for me. It affects me every day in everything I do, in my school and my personal life. Knowing that we would have this money changed both of our lives. Thank you for supporting Student Dreams.
Back to TD Waterhouse Stadium here in London, Ontario. Western Mustangs dominating here on homecoming Saturday. It's 49-8, and Toronto opens the fourth quarter with a punt. Fielded down at the 20. Yannick Haru gets to near the 30-yard line. Now we go to John Urban down on the sideline. John?
Thanks once again, Christian. This gentleman to my right, which is making me look like a bit of a small infant, is the man beast. Dylan Giffen, one of the first names announced in the 2015 recruitment class. First of all, Dylan, welcome to Western, and tell me what it's felt like to come here to homecoming and to be introduced in front of this fantastic crowd.
This is insane. I've never been in front of a crowd this big, and just I felt so small down there.
Now, when you announced that you're taking your talents to Western, you must have felt pretty excited. A lot of prestigiousness comes around this football program. Any thoughts behind that? A little bit of nervousness, maybe?
Well, I just want to be the best player I can be, and Western's the best place for that. They have an amazing program, and I don't know where I'm going to be in 5 years, but Western's going to put me in the best place for that.
Now, out of high school, you were a tackle, correct?
Yes, sir.
But with a man like your size, you could practically play any position on the field. Is there something specific that you would like to accomplish in the near future with your time here at Western?
Not really, just getting the best I can be and competing for a starting position. I want to be one of the best 5 offensive linemen here just so I can play.
Dylan Giffen, the future of your Western Mustangs. Back to you guys in the booth.
Thank you very much, John. That is a very large individual looking beside you, John. Adam St. Clair getting a rare carry, but whenever he touches the ball, he seems to gain a good amount of yardage. Looks like he got the first down, and he definitely did.
Well, it's an exciting time for that young man down there on the sidelines making his decision to come to Western. It's not an easy decision-making process coming out of high school, and I know he would have thought about it with his parents a lot, and congratulations to him for making the decision, and congratulations to Coach Chris Bertoya on his recruitment of an outstanding individual to come to Western next fall and be part of a great tradition here.
As a coach for the Mustangs for a long time, how involved were you in the recruitment process?
That's evolved over my years as a coach here, and coaches can become incredibly involved in the recruitment. It's a full-time position year-round, and Western has built over the last 10 years an excellent recruitment of coaches who do the recruiting under Coach Marshall's guidance, but it can be very, very time-consuming and takes up a lot of time, and it's a difficult job.
Take a look at the players of the week in the OUA. You got Tyler Crapigna, who's been part of the McMaster special teams for years now. Obviously well remembered for his performance in the Vanier Cup a couple years ago when Mac won in double overtime. And Guelph, maybe one of the surprises of the year this year, ranking in the CIS top 10. and they are currently slaughtering Guelph for their homecoming. We told you about the game out in Ottawa. That game is currently Ottawa up by 1. The male athlete of the week here at Western is Adam Page, who picked up his 20th career win through 5 scoreless innings against Ryerson. He's also your OUA athlete of the week, as the Mustangs baseball team is into the middle of their season right now.
Well, the Blue Jays could have used him the other night, perhaps.
Maybe the last month or so.
The last 6 or 7 games, they've been sliding a bit as they tickled us with their our hopes getting up a bit.
In typical Toronto fashion, you got your hopes up just too late, and now they've lost 5 in a row and they're out of the playoff picture altogether. Meanwhile, Western back on the field. They're chunking yardage, and Will Finch will head to the sidelines, and Stevenson Bone is into the action. He played in the second half against York. He hands it off, and right up the middle. It's a race to the end zone. Adam Sinclair, he's not going to get caught. It's a touchdown for Western.
Mustangs. Adam Sinclair.
Bone took a massive hit, lost his helmet on the play, but Sinclair runs all the way to the house.
Line, right up the middle, flag way back at the
70 yards for the touchdown.
Well, a good read by Stevenson Bone on that play. Took the exchange from center, handed it off right away to Adam Sinclair because there was a man right on him and took him down with a hard hit. And Adam Sinclair just busted up the middle. Great blocking, great hole. And Adam Sinclair, as I said earlier in the first half, talented young man and great running back. And I'm so excited to see him come back after his injury in the Yates Cup game last year.
How is there that much space just right up the middle, though? That's the big question.
Varsity defense, when you watch on the play, were collapsing in, and it was such a quick opener. It caught them by surprise, and boom, he was gone with his great speed.
Once he broke through the line, there was no one there in the secondary, and he was gone. 70 yards for the touchdown. Makes it a 56-8 lead. Bone on his very first play in the game. Just got the ball to Sinclair before he got absolutely smoked.
He did, and there was a penalty on the play because the individual from Toronto, I didn't catch his number, ended up taking off the quarterback Stevenson Bone's helmet as well with the hit. So the official immediately probably called a hit to the head, etc.
You saw the crowd shot there. It's not a close game anymore, so it's not surprising that people have gone home. It is homecoming after all, so you know what people tend to do. But
you're right, but there are some areas in the crowd that are still packed. I look over and I see the Michael Kirkley Training Center, and up on the terrace, it is packed with people, alumni watching the game. And then you look at the other end zone where all the tents are, and where a couple of the former teams that were recognized today, the 74, the 89 team, they're all down in there, and looks like good times down there under the tent and up at the Kirkley Terrace.
Yeah, the student side has thinned out considerably, but there's still a good crowd here, and you could hear the noise on that last run, got them back to their feet. The alumni side, the side closer to you on the TV screen, mostly made up of, dare I say, adults, and they're still pretty much full over here. Homecoming football game's a big deal here in London.
Kickoff return up to the
every year, a full house capacity crowd. As the season goes on, the crowd's not as full usually. People less inclined to brave the cold temperatures we get here towards the end of October.
A bit sad when you have such a great product as CIS football, and you know, for students today at the university, I know they have a lot of choices facing them in terms of what they do with their spare time. But certainly CIS football is an exciting element of your time here at Western.
When you got one of the better programs in the country, it's special to watch. Nassar is back in the game, and that's well covered by Malcolm Brown.
Good coverage all around by Western in the secondary then, and they actually were almost had some pressure, but the quarterback sprinted outside and bought himself a few more seconds. You'll see it here, Ricky Osikosi putting the pressure on.
And then Malcolm Brown all over the receiver. Played it perfectly. So Simon Nassar back in the game at quarterback after taking pretty much the entire third quarter, giving it to Chris Ugovich, who did not do a whole lot to earn playing time. A lot of incompletions and just Toronto, another mistake.
On the play.
Yeah, procedure there by number 60 on the offensive line, and now they're going to be faced, the 2nd and 15, and it's tough down in your end when you're making those kind of mistakes.
Got John Urban down on the sideline with an update, John.
Against the Blues.
Christian, I just wanted to throw this out there, that if you had a kid the last time the Toronto Varsity Blues beat these Western Mustangs, that was 1993. They'd be 21 years old and legally able to drink in the United States. Looks like that child's going to have to wait till his 22nd year, though, to enjoy a fruitful victory. Guys?
I was technically 1 year old when the Western Mustangs were last defeated by the Toronto Varsity Blues.
Well, I hate to admit it, I was actually at the game. It was snowing, and I was coaching.
A long time ago now,
Mind you, I was only 17 years old at the time. I was a very, very young coach.
Yep.
Finally manages to get the ball away. Still gets smacked around.
He just but a number.
3rd down.
And we get Western forcing yet another punt. The defense continues to hold strong, forcing Toronto. And they're not getting much going on offense here in the 4th quarter. Been the same trend all game, getting good pressure on the quarterback. This time, Gazendam will kick it from his end zone. That ball goes off Haru's hands, and it goes out of bounds.
Really not a great approach by the punt returner. He attacked the ball aggressively. I like that, but what they still don't understand in terms of the element of when the ball is kicked with the wind, it has a tendency, as it is coming down because the wind is pushing it, it will sail on you, and you have to be prepared. And that was a perfect example of him misjudging. He's coming up, and all of a sudden you realize, oh my goodness, that's going to go over my head. So
one of the main takeaways I have today from Western is their fielding of punts has left something to be desired.
Well, it's not people assume that it's an easy skill.
Bone takes the keeper and gets about 6.
Good read there by Stevenson on the zone read. The defensive end crashed down and went with the running back. Stevenson took the ball out and made good 6-7 yards and a good first down play. But back to your point regarding the fielding of punts, it is a difficult skill.
Bone on the season, all those numbers coming from their game against York when he came in the second half. Had a rushing touchdown in that game, as well as 3 of 4 passes completed. He's going to throw this one. He's going to air it out. He's got Brian Marshall in the middle of the field, and Brian Marshall gets down to the 30.
Well, great protection there for Stevenson Bone to set up in the pocket. Makes an excellent read, finds Brian Marshall coming through the middle, hits him right on the numbers, and good first down play. Brian comes up limping a bit.
One thing you don't want to see in a 4th quarter of a blowout victory is one of your best, most reliable receivers perhaps getting hurt. He's going to stay on the field. But the point is, you don't want to see anyone vital having to go down and miss time for you. Bone makes a man miss. A good job eluding a tackle there. And Bone still on his feet, and Bone will get all the way to the 17. That's a nice looking run for Stevenson Bone.
Great run again and a great read. Initially, it was not a great snap from the center. Stevenson had to reach down. If you watch the replay, it's at his ankles. He goes down, grabs it at his ankles, makes the zone read, pulls it back out, and then has a great run, keeps his feet moving, makes defenders miss, and picks up the first down. So 2 good plays in a row there by young Stevenson Bone at quarterback.
We're going to get a substitution as Brian Marshall. He tried to play that one, and he found himself unable to continue, took himself off the field, and as another player comes out for Western.
That's Matt Van Prate, the center. You hope that it's nothing serious.
You don't want to lose him. Yeah, here's the run by Bone. He eludes that tackle there and ends up picking up another 5 or 6 yards before going down.
Yeah, it happened right at the end of the play. Matt Van Prate wasn't even involved if you watch on the replay. He's going down the field, and the run is to the left of him, and then right near the end of the play, here you see it coming up on the monitor, number 55. He's not even near the ball carrier, but someone from the right here comes in, rolls down, and ends up on his ankle. You'll see number 2 come right in here, hit him on the ankle, and so he's probably got some sort of a twisted, pretty sore ankle.
Gingerly walks to the sideline and has a seat on the bench. Wes Robinson, meanwhile, comes in to play receiver in replacing Brian Marshall, who I would imagine would take the rest of the day off. There's no point trying to rush him back into the game. Make sure he's all right. Robinson yet to have a catch on the season. Bone holds it, fires end zone. It's Matt Uren, and another touchdown for the Western Mustangs.
Well, nice play by Stevenson Bone. Nice route by Matt Uren, who gets another touchdown. Great protection by the O-line. Stevenson sat in the pocket perfectly and then delivered the strike to Matt Uren, who has picked up another touchdown on basically a corner out route. Here you see the replay. Stevenson gets a snap, steps up in the pocket, delivers it to Matt.
No problem. Second touchdown catch of the day for Matt Uren.
Nice little birthday present as it's Matt Uren's 23rd birthday today.
And Matt Uren will hold the ball here for Medeiros as he boots it through to give Western their 63rd point of the day. And for Western, a comfortable big lead for them. A minute left in Ottawa. It's 31-27 for the GGs. So they'll try to beat Carleton. Another tough loss potentially for the Ravens. But they're showing that they belong here in the OUA in just their second year back in the program.
Certainly do, and Ottawa isn't going to let them get away with it, though, coming back and regaining the lead. So definitely a great battle up there in the nation's capital.
What they call the Panda game. 9:47 to go.
I wonder if they still call it that. I know that's what they used to call it. I wonder if they.
I hope they do.
It is the Panda game. Well, that's nice.
See tradition renewed in the nation's capital. It's good to have that kind of rivalry.
It is.
It's really
I hope
it's good for the game. Medeiros with a solid kick. Fielded at the 5. Devontae Brown brings it out. Devontae Brown has some space. Devontae Brown up the sidelines. Brown all the way to the Western 43-yard line. A very nice return for Devontae Brown.
Great
Devontae
return.
Smith, pardon me.
Great return by Toronto. Give them credit. He hit the seam on the right sideline, and he had clear sailing. So good blocking by the kickoff return team by Toronto, because there's no Western players in sight there.
Yes, that's Devontae Smith, not Devontae Brown. We got an update down on the sidelines with John Urban.
Thanks once again, Christian. Matt Van Preyet, the centerman that just went down after that last scoring drive, I believe will sit out the rest of this game. Just a precautionary measure, though, guys. They were looking intensely at his left ankle there for quite a bit. It looks like he would be good to go, but you know what? You're better off just playing it safe with a lead like this. Nigel?
Absolutely. Makes sense that you sit him down. You don't want to lose him. He's too integral to running the offensive line, making the calls, and good decision there by the coaches.
So Toronto will get some of their best starting field position of the day off that beautiful kick return from Devontae Smith. Took it from his own 5 and got all the way to the 43. 62-yard return. Nassar, the screen pass. A good play here with some room to go all the way to the end zone. It's a touchdown for Ashton Rochester.
They made it look easy on that play, surprisingly.
Pass complete to Rochester.
Western had a great rush and very well disguised play from Toronto's standpoint, because it looked like Western's defensive line had broken free, but they were setting up the screen, and there was no one out in the screen area to combat the runner. And when he took the ball, there was only one defender, Jesse McNair. The running back made a great move, froze Jesse, and just walked into the end zone. A very good-looking offensive play.
So they received the kickoff at the 5, a great return and a 43-yard screen. Touchdown, catch and run from Ashton Rochester. And perhaps a silver lining here.
Ashton showed really good speed as well once he got the ball, turning upfield and taking the end zone. So again, give them credit. You know, they're not giving up.
So it's a silver lining perhaps, Toronto. It's 63-15 Mustangs on top here in the fourth quarter.
Welcome to Golden Hawk Lake. Is this the new Toyota Highlander? Yep. Must feel like your own little world in here. I guess. Does this world of yours have a name? No. Ever look at the stars through your moonroof? I have. Ever wish upon them? No. Backup camera, like having eyes in the back of your head? A little. 1 or 2 eyes? So it has a V6 engine, right? Yes, sir. Is it powerful? Definitely. Do you think I'm powerful? Possibly.
The all-new Toyota Highlander. One look, and you'll want to know more.
Here at TD Stadium, Toronto, kicking off for just the 3rd time today. 2 scores in the opening kickoff. It's a low kick, fielded at the goal line by Shaquille Johnson. Johnson comes through the middle. He lost the ball, it looks like, but he fell on top of it at the 24-yard line. The one thing I notice when he runs with the ball is he just does not secure it as he's running.
No, he needs to remember that. Secure the football, take care of it. You don't want to give the other team any opportunity, and those are things you're going to have to improve on in order to become a better football player. Protect the football.
You're going to learn the hard way. You can see, just kind of holds the ball out there.
He does. He gets it away from his body.
He did lose it.
And then the varsity blue player grabbed his arm.
It won't take much to knock it out when you have it loose like that. Something he'll have to work on. Bone looks like he's got the reins for the rest of the game, the Western offense. Stevenson fires it out there. Shaquille Johnson makes the catch and is immediately tackled to the ground by 2 Varsity Blues defenders, but not for gaining
31.
About 7 yards on the play.
Well, again, he's getting excellent protection. He stays in the pocket, steps up, and delivers a nice pass to the out pattern run by Shaquille.
John Urban got an injury update for us.
It's again Christian. Zach Medeiros came off the field off of that last series limping, though he seems to be okay. I wanted to throw out this stat to you guys. Coming into this game, Western had scored 11 touchdowns from 8 different Mustangs. Matt Uran led the pack with 4 touchdowns. He got 1 today. He's at 5 and counting.
Thank you very much. It's been a very balanced attack from this Mustangs.
Another Mustang.
Right. Nice run play there to secure the first down, handing off to a new running back in there, Miles Ramba. So nice to see these younger players coming in and getting some playing time.
And doing well with it, too.
Very well.
That's the thing about this Western team. There's no one guy that if you shut down, it's really going to limit their attack. Maybe Brian Marshall gets 1 catch, but then the Johnson boys, George and Shaquille, they both get 5 or 6 touches. We got the female athlete of the week here for the Western Mustangs is Tenkis Schneider. The lacrosse team at Western is a very, very good program. She scored 12 of Western's 50 goals so far this season. Started the season 3-0. That's a team that always competes for provincial and national titles. Western here, not just the football team, but across the board, very, very good athletically in a lot of sports. And that's one of the things that makes Western a great place, athletic pride. And if you want more information on the Adopt a Mustang program, you can log on to westernmustangs.ca. Take in a student, athlete, help them out. It's a great program. Look into it, westernmustang.ca.
Well, it's an absolutely essential program to what takes place on campus here at Western University. Individuals able to come in, donate some money through the Adopt a Player program, and know that even though you're not here at Western, you're helping out a young man or a young woman, pursue their dreams both in the classroom and on the field of sport that they choose. So get involved and be part of a great program.
Good way to give back as Western continues to just play out this game. Under 8 minutes to go now. Like I said earlier, Western will head to Waterloo next weekend as they will take on the Warriors, who have again struggled this season. Really been coming into this week, only 14 points scored in their 3 games, and today they've only scored 4 against Windsor. They're down 62-4 to the Lancers late in the 4th, and that's a home game for them too in Waterloo. So again, I don't want to say maybe a weak opponent, but a team that Western shouldn't have their hands full with next week. Bone Very elusive runner, Stevenson Bone is.
Yeah, an excellent runner in terms of making the read, pulls the ball down, cuts in, he reads his blockers well, he knows where they're coming from, and has an excellent run and gets the first down, but I'm thinking there's a holding call back there somewhere as there's flags all over the place, so it negates an excellent run by Stevenson Bone.
Coming up for Toronto, they will head back home next weekend to host the Ottawa GGs, who are having a pretty nice season out in the eastern part of the province today. They were able to beat Carleton. Sorry, late update. Carleton able in the last seconds to pull out a 33-31 win.
Wow, that is huge. I mean, what an exciting game to be part of. The game, the scoring went back and forth, and that's just outstanding.
What appears to be the last play of the game, a 55-yard pass play to win the game for Carleton. They were down 31-27 on the last play of the game, and they'll win it 33-31. They don't bother with the extra point. And they got the ball.
What an outstanding finish, and what a tough way to lose a game on a 55-yard pass on the last play of the game.
We've got 5 plays, 105 yards in 25 seconds for Carleton at the end of that game. What a win for them. Madero's back on the field. He'll kick it. Fielded cleanly there. And up past midfield and breaking free of a tackle and out of bounds at the 35. Bad tackling there from the special teams as Rowan Komish with a decent return there for the Varsity Blues.
Well, Toronto's still playing hard, evidenced by their great kickoff return, and here you are in another special teams play on the punt coverage where Toronto does a great job and the returner breaks one tackle and is able to secure excellent yardage. So special teams a little slack at the end of this game.
You don't want to see them get too complacent. I know it's the end of a big win, but you still want them to play like it's the first quarter of the Yates Cup. There's a Rochester carry up just near the 30-yard line. Ashton Rochester coming in. The rushing attack of Toronto hasn't really been too effective today, mainly because Toronto's thrown the ball a lot, and because they've been playing from behind, they've kind of been forced into that style of game.
Well, initially they did try to run the ball, but the Western defense was up for the challenge and really shut that down.
Nassar is in the game once again. He has been for the whole fourth quarter, and he likely will for the rest of the game. Nassar hits his man out on the flats. Isaacov inside the 30.
Well, Malcolm Brown on the coverage. Good tackle. Closed on the ball well.
Pass complete to Isaacov.
Good second down play. Just short of the first down for Toronto. So with third and less than a yard, I'm sure they'll be going for this one.
The tackle. Third and short.
So for the Carleton Ravens, to wrap up that thought, they went winless last year in their first year back in the OUA. That's already their second this year over Ottawa, no less. Their first Panda game win since 1994. I know there was a few years in there where they didn't have a team, but still a huge win for them.
I'm thinking Matt, you're in.
Pass intended for Rochester. Slips through his hands, incomplete. Ball
and another defensive stand for the Mustangs. As on third down, they go for it, and no good.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just.
So we got Western back on offense here. 5.5 to go. Cheerleaders still out there having a good time. The band still playing. The game rolls on. This crowd starts thinning out. It's been thinning out gradually since about halftime. It tends to on homecoming Saturday because the tendency is it's a big Western win. And scheduling a team like Toronto, the crowd anticipated it would be a large score for Western, and it has been. Rombo with a solid run out to the 37.
Western getting their young running backs in, and
on the carry.
Great to watch them carry the ball, and you see what kind of depth they have at running back with Miles Romba, Adam Sinclair in there. Very talented offense.
Just under 5 minutes left. Stevenson Bone doing a nice job running this offense here.
He has. He's come in and executed the plays very well. When he's had to, he's made the right read on the zone read and kept the ball and run well himself. And then when he's been asked to throw, he stayed in the pocket and delivered strikes to the receivers, and really has shown well for himself.
Just measuring here. Did they get the first down? Yes, they did. Tough thing for Bone is we can see how good he can be. The unfortunate thing is he's going to struggle to get playing time with Will Finch. They're both third-year players. And Finch, obviously, he's going to be the guy going forward. But it's nice to know that in your back pocket you have a guy who can capably run the team as well in case the whatever worst-case scenario happens to Will Finch.
Well, you need that on a team, and it is good to see him in there performing so well.
Hands it off to Rombo, and Rombo gets to about the 39-yard line, a gain of 3. Western's next home game will be October the 4th. That's a Saturday afternoon, and it's a big one. It's against McMaster.
Second down.
Right, and even though it's 2 weeks down the road, you don't want to look that far ahead, even though you have your opponent down in Waterloo that you have to get through, and it'll be a difficult task. The coaches have to make sure next week's practices they've got the right focus.
Bowen escapes the tackle. He's done a lot of that today. Gets through another one. His helmet pops off, and a flag flies. Just because his helmet flies off, his flag flies. Now,
yeah, that was certainly not a hit to the head, so I'm not sure what the official was doing on that one. So
flag on a play as he loses his lid.
Can take a look here.
Well, no, actually, the official, awesome call by the official. Much better eyes than I do up here. The helmet was a helmet-to-helmet hit on the side, snapping Stevenson's helmet right off, sent flying. So
it's the second time we've seen Bowen's helmet come off here in the time he's been in the game.
Well, the officials did a good job there picking that up and saying we do not want these helmet-to-helmet hits.
Doing a big effort to try to crack down on these head injuries. That's our next home game here, and that will be the next game we have here on Mustangs TV, McMaster and Western at 1 o'clock. And the following Thursday will be the game after that. There will be no game on the Thanksgiving weekend. Instead, it's a Thursday night game. Interesting to see the lights on here at Western for a night game, a rare one.
Well, it's going to be 2 tough, very tough games in a row, and in a very short period of time. You have McMaster coming in here, who are an excellent program, and Western will have to be up for that challenge. And then a couple days later, after you nurse all the bumps and bruises, you're facing another great opponent on the Thursday night. And Western will have to be ready in a short period of time in order to have success down the road.
Is it better to have the second half of the schedule be the tougher half to maybe prepare you more for the grind of the playoffs? Because Western's schedule certainly is that way. They start against York, a Queens team that's in a down year, Toronto and Waterloo before you finish Mac, Laurier, Guelph, who's good, pretty good this year, and then Windsor.
Yeah, it really is what it is. And what I mean by that is if you had all your tough games early and you had the second half of the season, everyone would be saying, well, this is good. Our players get to nurse their injuries and they get to rest up and be ready for the playoffs. And then the opposite is happening this year, where you're going to have your toughest games coming up and you've got to be ready. And, you know, it's doesn't really matter which it is. You just got to handle it the right way.
Rombo rumbles up to the 35. John Urban, what do you got for us?
You seen on that last play, number 99, Zach Lukings was down. He's actually a local, went to Catholic Secondary High School right here in London. A little bit of an upset homecoming for him, if you will, with Ma and Dad in the stands, but Hill's going to tough it out and hopefully get back in for 1 or 2 plays before this contest ends, guys.
Thanks, John. You see Miles Rombo, he's putting together some nice carries as well here.
Yeah, it was a great run by him, but he had a great block by Alex May, the fullback, leading up and allowing him to get in there.
Whistle goes.
Time count violation.
Play is whistled dead. Time count violation called against the Mustangs.
Lone Star believes that Mesquite...
And that's just the kind of play you just don't really want to see
up to the 40-yard
at this point in the game.
Well, you don't want to see it at any point. Remember earlier we were really upset with it.
Lone Star believes that mesquite flavor don't come in a shaker. Tortillas should never be microwaved. and pico de gallo don't come from no jar. That's why Lone Star fires their grill with real mesquite wood trucked from Texas, makes freshly baked-to-order tortillas in their own oven, and fresh chops their pico daily. Now, if that much goes into making their fajitas taste so good, imagine what goes into everything else. Lone Star, the taste is in the details. Lone Star believes that mesquite flavor.
It's payback time.
It's not so fun when you're the target of rude behavior. College athletics has many traditions, but bad sportsmanship isn't one of them. Respect. It's the name of the game.
So 3 minutes to play here at TD Stadium. Ball is at the 28-yard line. And they're just going to punt it. They're not going to go for the field goal. They're not going to go for it on third down. They're just going to punt it. Maybe a curious choice.
Coach Marshall here not wanting, I guess, to put any more points on the board on a third down play. It's different if it's a first down or a second down play and it results in a touchdown, but he's just making the decision. No need to get any more points on the third down or even go for it.
So a safe punt goes out of bounds at the 13 for Toronto. It'll be yet another defeat at the hands of the Western Mustangs. It's been a long time coming for this program. They've gone through some real tough times, especially that 49-game losing streak that they probably hope everyone stops talking about. And
sure. Let's go with Matt, you're in.
That's a good carry there from Devontae Smith.
Maybe they can get the stats. I know he's had at least 7 receptions and 2 or 3 carries. So he's touched the ball 10 times. He's had 2 touchdowns. He's had probably 70 or 80 yards receiving. And
Nassar throws it out. Good catch. Cutting up field. Some space to move. Goes around another guy and some good backside pursuit there to cut down the receiver, Rahul Madan.
Rahul Madan making a nice catch and run, getting yards after the catch. Again, I said this earlier, nice to see him have some success. Great young man playing CIS football.
See a lot of east-west running here, but he makes one man miss, and then he sees some problems coming in the middle, but a good track down on the backside there. And that is Josh Bewald making that play.
Well, that's been one of their more successful plays, that little hitch to the wide receiver and bring him in underneath and seeing what he can do with the ball. And that time the middle opened up and he went to where there was no defenders and made a good play. And unfortunately, we see another player down for Toronto.
They haven't done a lot of testing over the middle, the area of the Western defense. You're right, a lot of their passes have been the short little hitch routes going out to the sidelines to their receivers there and hoping they'd work some magic in the open field. It hasn't really worked too well, though.
No, they've had some a bit of success with it, and now they've tried to get the ball down the field vertically. Had one successful play that was a big play, and that was about it.
The man down on the field will take a look at the OUA standings coming into today. Mac, Western, Windsor all adding wins today. Western obviously a big score today. Mac 49-2 winners over York at York's homecoming. York drops to 0-4 on the season. Waterloo drops to 0-4 on the season as they got blasted 63-4 by Windsor. That's a home game for Waterloo as well. If you're a home fan going to that game, I don't know how much you want to watch them play, but it's unfortunate. They went through a lot of troubles with their program getting suspended, and they have yet to recover, really.
No, they haven't, and it's a tough sledding for them, and hopefully the university gets behind and supports the team, because it's a tough position to be in if it's just the football players themselves and staff that are trying to get it going. So.
Got an injury question.
And the thing is, you look at Carleton, their second year, they're already having success back in the league, and you kind of have a success versus failure thing about program recovery when you look at Carleton versus Waterloo and how they've done.
Right, different approach. They have different people involved, and as a result, they got different results. And again, kudos to what Carleton has done with the money they put into the program, the support that the alumni has given them, and then the coaches themselves and the recruiting that they've done to get their program back on track.
So with 1:44 to go, another punt for Toronto. Gazandam. It's caught cleanly, but Haru steps out of bounds. John Urban, what have you got for us?
Again, Christian, I was just noting that there was obviously another injury on the play from the Toronto Varsity Blues, but this score is really turning into a barn burner, as you guys can imagine, up in the play booth by 63-15. It'll be interesting to see what the post-game comments are. I'm going to try and get Matt Urin if you'll have time to talk with us, guys.
Thank you, John.
Well, if you do get a hold of Matt Urin, make sure you remind him that he had a great day on his 23rd birthday.
Solid birthday present, and I'm sure they'll celebrate afterwards. A big win for Western, looking to go to 3-0 on the season, and reality is this isn't too much of a surprising result. How they got there, a bit interesting at times today.
Well, there were some definite miscues, and tomorrow when they break down the film, I'm sure the coaching staff will pay attention to those miscues and say these are the things we have to take care of and improve on and not have happen. And I mean, that's why you play the game. That's why you come out to practice, so that each play and each time you step on the field, you get a little bit better.
Bone back to pass on 2nd and 8. Puts it up. Wes Robinson, did he hold on? He certainly did. Good job by Robinson holding on, knowing the footsteps are coming.
Well, that's an exciting play for Wes, seeing some playing time. He's worked hard to get into the lineup. He's had some injury problems early on his year. I'm really happy to see him out on the field, and I'm sure he'll be excited by that catch and throw from Stevenson Bone.
Good throw and catch there, and now under a minute to go. A homecoming victory for Western. Miles Rombo up the middle, gains about 3.
Rombo, the ball carrier, gain of 4.
Give you an idea of how big the Panda Game finish was. Hashtag Panda Game is one of the top trends in Canada at the moment. So people care about CIS football.
Especially the end of the way that game ended. What an exciting end, and congratulations to the Carleton Ravens for pulling that one out on the last play of the game.
Hail Mary. If you have a chance to look it up, I would advise you to do so. We got a chance to do so during a commercial break, and it is a fantastic finish. Rombo, he's been looking pretty good today. Shakes off a couple and gets inside the 30. Miles Rombo's looked very impressive here.
Very
in the
impressive,
quarter.
A tough runner, and he's got great speed, and he gets into the open field. He'll be a tough man to bring down.
Miles Rombo, third-year player. 6 feet tall, 201 pounds. So far this year, coming into today, only had 10 touches for 75 yards, though. 7.5 yards per carry is a nice clip. And he's showing so today, too. And the kneel out from Stevenson Bone. One more kneel down will do it today. It looks like.
Well, congratulations to the Western Mustangs, putting on an excellent show in front of an outstanding homecoming crowd, and they should have time to enjoy this victory, and then tomorrow be back at it trying to get better.
Mustangs take the knee again.
They'll get ready for Waterloo, which is next Saturday, September 27th. One more kneel down from Bone will do it. The crowd gives their applause. And that is it from TD Stadium. 63 for Western, 15 for Toronto. A thoroughly dominating performance for the Western Mustangs today. Will Finch, he may have thrown 4 interceptions, but rushed for 2 touchdowns, threw 2 touchdowns to Matt Uren. And just a solid performance today from the Western Mustangs, who never really tested. Their defense really held strong today.
They certainly did, and on both sides of the ball, there's a lot to be pleased with if you're a Western Mustang coach and a player. So kudos to both sides of the ball and for a well-deserved victory.
So
players now on the field doing the traditional handshake at the end.
It's nice to see that kind of sportsmanship.
Absolutely, and some of these players know each other from living in the same hometown, and it's not easy when you're in Toronto coming down this line shaking hands after you've played in a game like this, but they'll be back at it, and they know what it feels like on both sides, having done that to York last week and then turn around and have Western do it to them this week.
So Western continues their dominance of the Toronto Varsity Blues. They'll maintain their probably number 3 ranking in the CIS rankings, as Calgary got a bit of a test last night. They beat Saskatchewan 38-24, and Laval today faced off against Bishops, and it wasn't close. 72-15. Laval wins that one.
Oh, there's a football powerhouse out there in Quebec, and they really know what they're doing in terms of presenting a great product on the field. So Laval is certainly at the top, as is Calgary.
Well, Quebec, they've pretty much got Quebec covered in terms of recruiting. Where else would you rather go than Laval, right? Success is the biggest reason why people would want to play there.
Yeah, they sure would. And then we did give kudos here to Coach Bertoya, because he was able to successfully get a number of kids out of Quebec this year that are going to be big impact players with us. So I know Western's pretty excited by that.
Yeah, it's always tough when you know Laval's waiting for you at the next level. And it's been every single year, it seems, Laval's there. They got a bit of a test in the Quebec final last year. It was a bit of a struggle, but in the end, they still come out on top.
Yeah, well, they are good programs, no doubt, Laval and Calgary, but Western is an excellent program as well, and they've been there many times, and they're really looking forward to the challenge to return to that level and meet up and play some teams out of the province. We're a long way away from that.
Oh, yeah.
And anyhow, down to the sideline.
Johnny's got Matt Uren. John.
Well, I'm sitting here watching this, watching the interview, and the sad thing is, I think the mic is not working, and this is where, Christian, I was going to rely on your lip reading skills to translate for our viewers. So
that's all right. Matt Uren had a great game. He's our player of the game today. 2 touchdown grabs for the man, and for Western, another dominating home win. For John Urban and Nigel Wilson, my name's Christian Mel. Thank you very much for watching Mustangs TV's inaugural presentation of Western Mustangs football. We hope you tune in 2 weeks from now when Mick Master comes to town. Should be a great one. We'll talk to you then.